Yeah. By the way, who's on the clock? This is Vegas on the clock now, right?
Vegas is on the clock now. What do you think about the Barmore extension talk?
Extend him. It's not.
Yeah,
I will say one of the things that I think is tough is that everybody knows Christian Barmore is good, and he is a year away from getting paid. Everybody knows he's a year away from getting paid, and that can make the extension tough because you almost don't have leverage if you're New England.
right.
Barmore's camp knows that whatever New England offers, they can take that offer this offseason, send it to free agency, and get 5% more or whatever just based on that. So you got to pay a little extra to get a guy off the market early, but you have the cap
But
space.
you have the
He's very
space.
good. As long as there isn't an unreasonable demand here, as long as you can meet it in a place that is
Yep,
anywhere reasonable, you just pay the money and
yep.
keep him.
More Bills' terrible draft picks getting extended. I
Yep.
love it. I love
Hey,
it.
Bill, for all the issues with Bill, he was very good on the defensive side of the ball drafting guys, unless it was
Right.
defensive backs,
All right, here
Thank
perfect
you.
timing. Perfect time for me to come back because here we go.
which we're on the CLNS channel now, Pat.
Yes, we are on the CLNS channel. I did hear that. That was very nice.
Yeah.
So
With
welcome if you're
the
new.
13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders have selected Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia. A little surprising. They took a tight end awfully early last year, taking another one in the first round, but I do think that's pretty wild. Pretty wild decision to do that. But hey, I think that's interesting. So
I think sometimes you just take the best player available and don't overcomplicate it. If Bowers is you need talent. If Bowers is the best guy on your board, you just take him and go from there.
agreed.
Yep.
By the way, we are now officially on the CLNS YouTube page. So for those of you that are just tuning in on the YouTube page there, we appreciate you being here. It's me, Pat Lane, here with Matt St. Jean, and of course, our guy Murph. We have a bunch of other people that will be coming through at some point. And so, yeah, here we are. And we are 13 picks into the NFL draft. And not one defensive player has been taken yet. 6 quarterbacks have gone off the board. And oh my goodness, there's been some fireworks, some absolute fireworks. And look, someone pointed out, about the Penix thing, right? Was that, hey, Green Bay drafted Jordan Love when
Jordan Love wasn't 30.
Well, and it's not just that, but it's also right. Jordan Love was young.
Yeah.
And you knew he needed time. I think that, Penix is a little bit older. It just surprises me, man.
Is more time going to get Penix better? I don't think so. I think he's the most, what you see is what you get quarterback in this draft. But then again, like I said, I love his arm. And it's just somebody that I would like to see out on the field a lot sooner than they're going to be able to get him out on the field, unless, they're worried that, about injury at that position, junior's age.
Yeah. Yep. So, by the way, because we're with a new audience here, I just want to remind everyone, when you get on here, if you're watching, and thank you so much for watching, we appreciate it. We are raffling off tonight the official Patriots draft hat. Look at how sweet that thing is, dude. And then this, I mean, come on, look at that, dude. So sick. All you have to do is be subscribed to the YouTube channel and comment on the stream. We're going to put the names in a random name generator, fire up the wheel, and it will pick someone at random. And that's the case. And so, and someone will win. So, make sure you're commenting, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll go from there. Also, it says the Saints right now are on the clock, and they are looking to potentially trade back. And so, Pat's Nation, a little Pat's Nation shout out from my guy Shabsy. Loves it. But yes, so that's what we got. So seems as though that's going to happen.
I think our friend James Kirkham is across the pond.
Yes, he is. I was saying last year, somebody won, and he was in England, and so Gary Sourbutt's actually won. Was in England, and so I had to mail it out to him. And it was like I was saying, it was like $17 was
Jesus,
the
Mary
international
Joseph.
thing. So, but I said, hey man, like it's okay,
That's the deal.
So
if I
comment
won,
stream
Pat
is
would
right in
make
the
me
chat.
drive over to his house to get it.
Right. Yeah. Brendan, you're right. Yes. Comment in the stream as in write in the chat. If you write in the chat, that's what I mean. Yep.
What do you call it? Apparently the Saints are listening on trade offers, by the way.
Yes. Yep. I did mention that, I think, right? Did I mention that?
We got a lot going on. I don't remember if you did.
No. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because we do have a lot going on. I'm like, did I say that? Because I'm like, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Yes, and Gary's right. 6 weeks later, he got it. I mailed it out. I ordered it from Fanatics. Oh, I ordered him something. He won. He didn't win the draft hat. He won something. He won the trivia, and I mailed him something directly from Fanatics, and it never got to his house.
Wow.
And so then I had to contact Fanatics. Fanatics is pretty good about it. I had to contact Fanatics. Then they were like, okay, fine, we'll send. And they sent me something. They sent him something else free of charge, and he got it. So which was nice. That was good. But yeah, it was.
Saints are sticking and picking here, apparently.
All right, there you go. All right.
I'm very curious because if they were looking to trade back, what the Saints need is a tackle.
Yeah.
So
kind of seems
they're
that
looking
way,
to trade back if they might not like the tackles, and if they don't like the tackles, then what are they going to do? Best defender? Is this a Byron Murphy spot?
Kind of feel like I almost wonder like. At some point, you got to take a defender somewhere, right? Like, I almost wonder for the Patriots. I know that clearly they want, they're looking for a wide receiver or a tackle.
Saints went heavy defense last year, though.
That's true. That is true.
And
but
so
can we also, can we count on the Saints to do something smart?
Great point. That's a great point. That's a very good point.
There's an underlying assumption that teams are going to do the rational thing, and I don't think we should make that assumption.
Right. Well, and that's, I think defensively, what's interesting to me about defensively is that you're 13 picks in and no defenders have come off the board. 6 of those 13 picks have been quarterbacks. That means that guys that people are high on, right, are not going to get it. You know what I mean? And so that's
and all these quarterbacks coming off the board just forces this talent down.
Right.
How many quarterbacks have we had off the board now that those teams could have used that cornerback? They could have used a Murphy right there. And who couldn't use a Murphy right there? Yeah. But no, and all of this is great for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Because of this talent on the defensive side, which we all know. Don't get me wrong, folks. I understand the Pats could use another cornerback with size. But, this is pushing those offensive tackles down further. This is pushing those wide receivers down further. And we could end up, easily not needing to trade up. Like Matt was saying while you were off doing the wonderful dad thing. Pat's a great dad, folks. He really is. I'd like to go back and be as good a dad as Pat is.
Oh, I'm sure you're a great dad, Murph. Come on.
And
we know more about Butchie than we know about you.
Half the people 90% of the people that follow me for Butchie updates.
Right? See, you're a great dad.
But
future Red Sox.
But these guys are all falling down the board that the Patriots could need and use.
Yep. All right, here. One guy. Here we go. One guy that the Patriots could have used that is not falling down the board. With the 14th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints have taken Tali Fuaga, offensive tackle from Oregon State.
Yep.
Love it. Makes a ton of sense.
Right.
Draft an offensive lineman. I think wasn't a great fit for the Patriots because he's a right tackle and not a left tackle. So I think that's good for the Patriots. And again, and listen, I'm throwing this out there. I'm just throwing it out there for everyone. My last mock draft, I had Drake May going at 3. I had the Patriots trading 34 and a second-round pick next year for Troy Fautanu, the left tackle from Washington.
Right.
Now, if that's the case, and look, we're at pick 14, right? Offensive linemen have gone off. But again, we're starting to look at it and say, okay, no defensive players have gotten taken. At some point, there's going to be a defensive player taken, right? Is Indy taking a tackle? Probably not. Is Seattle taking a tackle? Probably not. Is Jacksonville might, but I don't know, right? And so you wonder, like, could he fall a little bit? And could the Patriots get aggressive and get back into the first round and say, hey, we didn't think that around pick 20, we were going to have a guy that had a chance to be here, right? And so you start to look at it, and Tyler Guyton's another guy where Tyler Guyton, and Rat Pack mentions we could get him at 34. That's possible. It could also happen that,
I'd rather
a run on tackles happens right now,
and
and
they get him at 22.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Looking ahead right now too, the next 5 picks, it's the Colts, it's the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Rams. All 5 of those could be defense. We could get a real quick run on defense here.
And the Jags will do something stupid because of the Jags.
Well, it's maybe, but it's
They're the
probably
Jets of the South.
Well, I look at it. The Colts need corner. They could take whoever their top corner is. My bet would be Quinyon Mitchell. You get to 16, the Jaguars. No, 16, sorry, Seattle. They got Mike McDonald out there. Yep. I look at any of these top edge guys, I think would be a fit for him. And there's the top 3 edge guys, but you got Chop Robinson, who I think would also be a fit for what they do. If they want to go edge or they want to go get Byron Murphy. Jacksonville needs secondary help badly. They can go get a top corner in this draft. Cincinnati, I think you can go a lot of ways, but going corner wouldn't surprise me there. And the Rams, DeJean. And then, if Byron Murphy's still on the board when the Rams pick, that's got to be the pick, I think.
DeJean can just play all over. He is like the super Belichick pick. He's
just a ball player.
He can do back there. He's just a football player. And I'm kind of surprised I will be surprised if he doesn't go soon.
And he won't make it past Green Bay at 25 or like Detroit at 29. I think that's his floor.
Yeah. How about this tidbit here from Adam Schefter? The record for most offensive players to open a draft was 2021 with 7. They've now doubled that. At 14 in a row. And so that's pretty wild. And again, the Colts might be sitting here at 15 saying, hey, we need to take the best defensive player, but they also might look at it and say, we need an offensive guy too. So you never know. You know what I mean? So lots of interesting things going on here. So
but there's a ton of talent, ton of top 25 talent left here, just at the cornerback position. Talked about Mitchell, Arnold, Nate Wiggins, and of course everybody's favorite, name in this draft, Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's right. And you got to think now, defensive players are tumbling down the board. Right. Like you look at all these top defensive players, and I like Dallas Turner's fine, but I never bought Dallas Turner as a top 10 draft pick. I don't know. He's fine, but he's not at the level that the other guys are, in my opinion.
Okay.
Edge rushing wise, at least.
Right.
Yeah. I thought Dallas Turner was going to end up in Atlanta because they need pass rushers, and he was the best scheme fit of the guys at the top. That Atlanta pick still mystifies me.
Yeah.
Your defense isn't good. You have a chance to draft a premier talent on offense, and you draft a quarterback, the position you paid $100 million to in free agency.
Yep.
This is up there. If this goes poorly, this is going to be up there with like the Brandon Whedon pick. In terms of,
what? And again, here's my thing, right? I really like Michael Penix. I do. I think Michael Penix is a really good quarterback. The issue that I have is that you met with him. You met with Michael Penix.
Yeah.
All of this stuff happened before free agency opened. And then in free agency, you paid Kirk Cousins a crap ton of money.
Yep.
What are you doing? Like,
Um,
that doesn't make any sense.
Apparently, Kirk Cousins didn't know about this until the pick happened. They called him right before they called him the pick to let him know. He had an idea they might take a quarterback, but a quarterback in the first was.
And listen, and here's the thing, right? Horace Williams points out Cousins is 35 and coming off injury. You're not wrong about that.
No. You
just paid the guy $100 million guaranteed. What are we talking about? Like, fine. You want to make the argument that Penix could start over him and he might be better and so on and so forth. That's fine. And I think I could theoretically get on board with that. But you can't sit there and tell me it makes sense to have signed a quarterback this offseason and then draft a guy at number 8 overall to replace him. Obviously, like they're going to replace him at some point. Yeah. You don't draft a guy in the top 10 if you don't think he's going to start for you. He's not going to start this year. But are you going to sit him for 2 full seasons?
Yeah, this is more mind-boggling than if say Arizona grabbed JJ McCarthy at 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, Matt just pulled back that curtain because when he was talking about the money that they just spent, and Pat is just backing it up now. And the more I think about it, the more I want to scratch my head and say, what the actual fudge?
Yeah,
we are a family show. I'm being a nice family guy.
Hey, well, we appreciate that. We do appreciate that. Oh, and we got a trend breaker. We have a trend breaker.
And that means this has to be defense.
Who's the first defensive player off the board?
Here we go. You ready for me, Matt?
I'm getting it ready now. Yeah, you can go for it.
I'm going to butcher this name. Oh, God. With the 15th pick in the NFL draft, in the 2024 NFL draft, the Indianapolis Colts are selecting Latu, edge from UCLA. I butchered that, but that's okay. How's it pronounced, Matt? Correct me.
Latu.
Damn it! It was so much easier than I thought, and I blew it. I didn't follow my own damn rule. I'm a teacher, and the rule is keep it simple. Keep it simple, right? Like if you just sound it out and read it the way it looks, and I overthought it.
This is a great pick. Oh, go ahead, Matt. You wanna.
So there've been rumors all week about Latu falling out of the first round because he has some significant medical red flags.
All right. This is something I didn't know.
Yeah, he was forced to retire with a neck injury, transferred to UCLA, who cleared him and started playing there. The positive is of all the edge defenders in this class, he is the most technically refined. Right. He's the most polished. He is the best.
Hands are unbelievable. I mean, I have watched, almost every defensive snap that this guy has taken, and his hands are ungodly. I mean, he uses them like he is the Muhammad Ali of defensive ends. He really is. And there's no rope-a-dope in his game. This guy goes right after the quarterback on every single snap. We would have loved him here in New England.
Yeah,
he's a fantastic talent. I had no idea about what Pat's what.
He literally was forced to retire. Right? Where was that? Okay. Where was he?
Was that UW? Somewhere in the
Washington. That's what I thought. I thought it was Washington.
Yeah.
Was it Jordan Phillips? Was it Jordan Phillips or Jalen Phillips? I'm sorry. The kind of same thing, right? Like they were like, no, the kid. And I think actually he was taken 15th by Miami, or he might have been taken 19th, but he was taken in the teens by Miami a few years back. And he's been really good for Miami. Yep. And I don't think he's missed a game from injury. And so, look, all these guys, and TD says one hit away from being done. All these guys are one hit away from being done, right? And so you take the best guy you can. And and you live with it. And if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. What are you gonna do?
Well, he had 23 and a half sacks for the last 2 seasons. He's a very good pass rusher. I think the question marks with him, he's incredibly polished, but he's an okay athlete, and he's older. He's already 23 years old. Yeah, he's 23. He will turn 24 before the final week of the regular season. it kind of feels like you're getting a finished product. You're getting a guy who is probably not going to get too much better than he is right now, and a guy with the serious medical concerns.
Yep.
I don't hate him. I like him a lot.
Right.
I personally am not sure I see the scheme fit in Indy's defense, and Indy has a secondary that isn't very good, and I think this is not necessarily the best edge defender on the board, not necessarily the best edge defender fit-wise for Indy, and certainly not the best defensive player on the board. I think I'd have Quinyon Mitchell and Terrion Arnold above this, and they're both bigger needs for Indy, so I'm a little confused, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it is strange. And like I said, I mean, the Jalen Phillips example, I think, is the best example because Jalen Phillips is a guy that, I don't know if he was like Latu had to medically retire, right? Like, I don't think Phillips was quite that bad, but there were some real question marks about Phillips about whether he'd ever play again. And he worked his way back. And again, he's been healthy. I think he's been healthy with Miami, right? Or at least mostly. He might have missed a game or two, but I think I'm pretty spot on with that. And so you look at it and say, hey, maybe this kid can do the same thing, right? But again, you worry about the fact that, can he stay healthy over the long term, right? And again, if he's a finished product, and maybe he is a finished product, he's a pretty dang good finished product, right? And so that's the thing is that, like, they're getting that, but I think you're right. And DJ Daniel says it too. And Matt, you've said it. And I believe Murph, you echoed it as well. Like, it is surprising they didn't go corner, especially when zero corners have gone off the board. You get your number one corner on the board right now.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, he reminds me of like Kyle Van Noy too, in a lot of ways. I think he's more refined. But I think he plays the position in a slightly similar way. And it's like, I gotta like him. He's good. He's not gonna be a bad player. Like I don't think unless the medical issues pop back up, I don't think this is gonna be a bad pick for the Colts. I'm just not 100% sold that this is the kind of guy you want to take at 15.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I agree. When there's this much talent still on the board, and you could literally have your pick of any defensive player in this draft. I totally agree with that.
Well, what I think is interesting here is that, who's up next on the draft board? It's Seattle with Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator who used Kyle Van Noy, and he likes all those blitzes and things like that. And I think Latu would have been a great fit there. Yeah. So that I think would have made more sense. So now I'm very curious what Seattle does. I don't know where they're going to go here.
All right, listen, because we're on the CLNS stream, we got to take another quick ad break. We got to do this a few times. We're a 5-hour show. We got to do this a few times. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. We'll be back with you before the next pick is announced. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan, from basketball, baseball, and hockey to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Aaron Judge, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, Prize Picks will have your back and not count that as a loss. Now, this week, I'm actually going with Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, and Bobby Witt Jr. to have over 1.5 total bases, and I'm going with Kevin Durant for more than 28 points and Nikola Jokic with more than 10 rebounds. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, if you download the app today and put in the code CLNS, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right. Okay, so pick. Oh, apparently the pick is in. So it says on the TV. Let's see what happens. I'm very interested to see where this pick is, and who Seattle takes. I'm hoping it's not Fautanu because I'd love to see him continue to fall and the Patriots be able to move up and get him. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would love to see that. Of course, Cincinnati's sitting there at 18, but Cincinnati's not going to take a lineman because they don't need one.
We have quotes from Kirk Cousins, by the way.
Oh, baby. Let's hear that.
This is a tweet from Jane Slater. who is a reporter for NFL Network.
I'm looking forward to having an older brother here on the team.
Oh wait, hold on before you read that. Hold on before you read that. Yes, sir.
Oh.
I threw it in the chat for you.
Thank you.
And here we go. All right, with the 16th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, we're halfway through the first round. The Seattle Seahawks have taken Byron Murphy, defensive tackle from Texas, after having 0 defensive players in the first 14 picks. We've gone back-to-back defensive players. I thought he might be the first defensive player to go. Yep. He's an absolute stud at defensive tackle, just a monster of a man. And I think this is a great pick for them.
Yeah, I like this for Seattle. I think he's the best defensive player on the board, and got a new defensive coordinator. You give him a toy to play with, especially now that I think Penix would have been in consideration here, maybe if they're looking to move on from Geno Smith long term. And with that off the board, some of the other offensive options off the board, I think this was easy decision for them.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I like Newton out of Illinois a little bit more than Murphy. I'm sorry, I know that's a sin against my family name. And but no, I think it's a great pick. I think it's a fantastic pick, and they're going to enjoy him out there in the land of the 12s.
Yeah, agreed. So, hey man, so there we go. All right, let's get to your Kirk Cousins quotes here.
Yeah.
I'll read the tweet here from Jane Slater. She says, "As we all sit in shock over the Atlanta pick, a source tells me Kirk Cousins, just as, quote, shocked and, quote, disappointed, never said anything to him or his reps about a quarterback in first round, despite suggesting they would. Still, quote, it's a business." So, yeah, he's not happy about it, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
The two things that you want to make your new quarterback think are shocked and disappointed, right? Those are the words you want coming out of his mouth before you've played a game.
Yeah, that's wild. I can't believe it. And again, like I said,
the franchise got up 25 points in the Super Bowl. I'll never understand.
Yeah, it just, you know what? To me, it doesn't make sense why you would sign Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk does not like that. That's good. I like that one. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense. Why sign Kirk Cousins if you're going to draft Michael Penix?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Why not go out and get him, somebody that he could use, somebody that could protect him, or somebody on the other side of the ball,
or trade back?
Yeah,
you can't tell me there wasn't some kind of offer on the board. So they have to love Penix. Like, there's no other explanation that they absolutely love him. And I like Penix. I don't see anything in his profile that.
Or they're worried about the investment that they made, and they don't care about their owner's money.
Why are you giving him $100 million guaranteed if you're this worried?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's the real part of it. By the way, I just got a DM. I'll pull this up. AWL Sabermetrics, my guy, AWL Sabermetrics on Twitter. Who follow him if you don't already follow him. The guy's great. But he DM'd me a video, and I just tweeted it out. It's of Terry Fontenot explaining the pick. Looks like he's explaining the pick to Arthur Blank, and it's not going over well with Arthur Blank. So
Arthur Blank's thinking, I passed on Bill Belichick for this.
Yeah.
Oh baby, Jacksonville has moved out of pick 17. The Minnesota Vikings are back on the clock at pick 17. Moved up from 23 to 17. How about that?
I love that I get to use this banner again. I don't have to remake my trade banner.
Let's go.
So I look at this, and I look at their defensive scheme. That relies heavily on corners you can play in man coverage. And who's on the board? And I see this is Terry and Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell, just whichever one they like more.
That can't be right. Field Yates, that can't be right. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Now I get it. I was like, wait a second. He updated it. Vikings traded for 17. They gave up 23, 167, and third and fourth third and fourth round picks next year.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's a lot, but
Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
assuming
again, if it's
Jacksonville
for
23 now.
Jacksonville's at 23. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think it makes a lot of sense for Minnesota if you like a guy. Corner has if you want a corner,
Right.
you're landing literally corner number one. Right. And so yes, you're giving up, but you're realistically now, you're giving up 167, which is what? A fourth round pick, a fifth round pick?
Yep.
Who cares? You're giving up a third and a fourth next year, which is a decent amount.
That is.
But it's not that much. Like, you know,
No,
you're not giving up, you're giving up, you know, hopefully Minnesota's looking at it and saying, hopefully we're giving up, you know, a mid to late round, third round pick, you know?
You're not going to have anything higher than like
God.
the 70s in there. So, yeah, message me, whoever this is. But yeah, no, you're probably not going to have anything in the top 75 involved in that trade to move up and get whoever it is that they like here.
All right. Now I disagree, but that's okay. Now that I know who the pick is.
I mean,
I don't disagree, but here we go. All right, with the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings have selected Dallas Turner, edge from Alabama. Yes. There you go. Dallas Turner.
Now, do you know what I think makes a ton of sense here with this one? I will say. The other thing that Brian Flores' defensive scheme does a lot is they do a lot of blitzes and they do a lot of three-man rush with everybody dropping back into coverage. No edge defender at the top of this class got asked to drop into coverage more in college. Dallas Turner.
Yep.
Good point.
So if you want a guy who can win one-on-one matchups and then also drop into coverage for you, this is your guy. NFL does not like this corner class at all. I mean, we just had a couple. Jacksonville needs a corner. They passed on one. Indy needs a corner. They passed on one. Vikings need a corner. They go with a different defensive
they're
player.
all still out there. Those corners are all still there. So moving back just this slight amount, they'll still be able to get one of the top three corners in this draft, I think.
They will, but they don't. I mean, we are through the Christian Gonzalez pick now when three corners came off the board last year. We don't have a single one.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I think I like Terrion Arnold and Quinyon Mitchell. I don't think they're Christian Gonzalez level quite, but Christian Gonzalez we all thought went too low too. We thought he was a surefire top 10 pick.
Right. Yep. Right. That's a great point. That's a great point about Gonzalez too.
Turner's somebody. He's not a great tackler. I don't think that he's great against the run, but you know, as Matt said, he could, drop into coverage with the best of them, and we'll see. It's.
I'm surprised. TD said that he doesn't think Dallas Turner was projected to be, I think, the first defensive player off the board. He said he wasn't on anyone's first round
projected top 10 pick. I mean, if you're Minnesota, this is a guy at least you're thinking about at pick 11 if you don't get a quarterback. Yeah. So to get him later on, I think is really good. I don't think this is a bad pick. I'm just surprised that they went edge rusher over corner. I like it for positional value. I just wasn't sure this was. This was the guy. I will say. I also you go ahead, Murph.
He goes forward and backward really well.
Yes.
Okay. He gets to the quarterback really well. He drops into coverage really well, and I can see the pick, and I know why some people had him in the top 10. I probably put him in the top. You got a top 15 talent here, without a doubt.
Yeah. That's true. By the way, can we just
pull a comment real quick?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to bring this up because we're going to circle back to Patriots for a second. James Mycroft had asked about Brian Thomas, and we're talking about guys who are dropping in this draft. This only became, as far as I know, public info this week that apparently he has some kind of an existing injury at the moment that will require surgery after his rookie season. He and A.D. Mitchell were the two guys that people thought were probably going in the first round, and A.D. Mitchell is also a guy who apparently has been falling down draft boards. So for those looking for receivers for New England, I think the next receiver taken could be one of 6 or 7 different players, and it's kind of a crapshoot from here on out the order in which the receivers actually come off the board.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I just want to circle back to Minnesota for not Minnesota, Atlanta for a second, because someone pointed this out, and I think it's so true. Bill Belichick, and what's his name? Joey Thornton was saying, Belichick avoided all this disaster in Atlanta. But if you're Arthur Blank, are you kicking yourself right now that you didn't hire Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
And because there's no way Bill Belichick lets that pick happen in number 8.
Right. Because everybody in those front offices was scared to death to have Bill in there.
Right.
They were all scared to death that they would be out of jobs because Bill does everything.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. This is what happens sometimes when, too many cooks spoil the soup. You can't decide on what you're going to do. And, it's obvious that a lot of people in that front office weren't happy about giving Kirk Cousins $100 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but this is the other thing is that, I think if you're Atlanta, there's a lot of reasons you can be okay with not hiring Bill Belichick. He's a guy who hasn't had the greatest recent track record, who's older, and you may not like his assistants. That alone, and forget anything else, those are all perfectly legitimate reasons to say, hey, we just want to go with a different guy. But it sounds like McKay and Fontenot were the big guys behind this, and that's fine. But also, that means those guys then have to make the right calls. And this is a risky call to make in that situation. Yep. Your team is supposed to be all in. I think you would have gone a number of different ways here for somebody.
All right, here we go. We got another one. See the chat?
Yeah, I do see.
With the 18th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals are taking Amarius Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia. I like this pick a lot.
Yep.
Didn't they just sign Trent Brown, though?
Yep.
And
that's why
this makes so much sense.
Why it makes sense. Yeah, you're right.
There was nobody out there. They were stuck with Trent Brown. They needed enough. They didn't think that they would get a top flight offensive tackle. Now Mims's ceiling is super high. He hasn't played a lot of football, but if I was them, I would roll this dice and take Mims. I love Mims.
Yeah. I like it. I really, really like Amarius Mims. And I'm telling you, my guy, Troy Fautano, keeps dropping. Get up there. Get up there. Get up there, Patriots. And TJ Pinder is asking about if he plays left tackle or right tackle. I believe he played right tackle in Georgia, but he's played like 8 total games. So I think for him, they feel like they're comfortable playing him on the right or the left-hand side, depending on what they need for him. So he's not super experienced. He's not polished at any position. And so you can mold him to be whoever you want him to be, I think.
Right.
8 career starts all at right tackle. He's on the younger side, too. He's going to turn 22 during the season, about a quarter of the way through the season. But yeah, 8 starts. And this is... If you like Trent Brown, now the Bengals have 2 of them. That's right. That's what this is. Which when you got a guy who's good,
but this kid's a little more dedicated to his craft than Trent has been over the past few years. Yeah.
But you got 2 guys here who are big, good, and have had issues staying on the field. Which means if you can fix the issues with staying on the field, or you can make sure that at least one of them is healthy at any given time, you're going to be all set. And I think he's a good developmental guy too to sit behind. And he and Fashanu, I really like where they were selected as guys who can just sit and develop for a little bit and then probably become full-time starters in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. And so I'm interested to see what happens here and where it's going to go from here. But I like that pick a lot, man. I think it makes a ton of sense. And DJ's saying that people get too caught up in left and right tackle, but I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that.
As somebody that squatted in the mud for a very long time, it's 2 different hemispheres of your brain, and you're a very special person if you can swing tackle. If you're a swing tackle, There's a reason they put me in the middle of the line because I couldn't do either. And but no, it is very different moving over to that other side. You're especially when you've played one side most of your life, moving over to the other side, it's a completely different drop. It's not a different skill set per se, but you want somebody different over there on that right side than you do on the left, unless you're grabbing, a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and someone was saying, and I forget who it was, so forgive me, but I forget who the guy was that was saying it, but he played left tackle, right tackle. I think it might have been Lane Johnson actually played right tackle, right? And was saying that like one side of his body is like way more sore than the other side of his body because he plants with his inside foot. And so that left side has just taken a whole lot more, and that's just kind of what he's done his whole career. And so like for him, do you look at it and say, okay, well now, go switch over to the left? And it's like, I just can't do it. Matt Light couldn't play right tackle. Like they brought him in, he couldn't play right. No. They put him over left tackle. He was incredible. So that's one of the things for me. Also, people are talking about Cooper DeJean, and I know Cooper DeJean is listed as a corner. Of course, my guy Troy Fartano was listed as a guard on ESPN, but that's wrong. But either way,
he's a tackle.
He's not a corner. Cooper DeJean, in my opinion, is going to play free safety in the NFL, and I think he has the ability to play some corner, but I think primarily he's going to be a free safety. And by the way, the Patriots need a free safety, and so I think they'd be on board with that if he drops to 34. Right now, the only problem is that would they be okay doing that when there's, if there's tackles and wide receivers sitting there? But we'll see.
Yeah. Somebody had asked in the chat clarification on the Brian Thomas injury. It's not, as far as I know, it's not keeping him out for the season. It's one of those he can play through and then he'll get surgery to repair after. It's a shoulder injury, and I'm totally forgetting what the nature. It's a relatively common injury. I'm totally forgetting what it's called.
Yeah, I think it was a shoulder injury, right?
It's shoulder, yeah.
Yeah.
I think DeJean could play.
I think DeJean could play corner. I do. But I think he can play outside corner. I think he can play the slot, or I think he could play center field out there. But I think, Pat, with the rotation that they have here, and I think, things are going to stay. They'll evolve a little bit, but they're basically going to be running the same schemes out there on the defensive side of the ball. I think he would fit in here fantastically.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, what I do, another thing I think it's interesting if DeJean were to come to New England is that, if you were going to go back to the old Seattle Seahawks cover 3 defenses, one of the things that made them really good was having a pair of outside corners who were very rangy and athletic and could cover a lot of ground. And if you had Cooper DeJean and Christian Gonzalez in those roles, get Duggar and Peppers in the middle of the field, you still need the free safety part. But I think those fill those roles really well. And the NFL is cyclical. We all talk about cover 2 and, cover 4 and how that's the big thing these days. And I'm sure it will be until somebody does, somebody's going to crack a code and we're going to go back to the single high within the next 5 years.
I've been a quarters guy for years. I love quarters.
Quarters. I mean, you listen to Ernie Adams on the podcast talking about how they ran quarters to beat Peyton Manning. Quarters against teams that would just want to throw the ball. It works as long as the players execute it. It's going to work every time, especially the modern match versions of it that get used. But even cover 3, cover 1, single high stuff can also be very, very good. So I mean, I would love DeJean in New England. I wouldn't take him over some other guys who might be there. I think taking him at 34, if there's receiving talent that you like there or an offensive tackle you like there, it's just too much of a luxury pick for me. But from an X's and O's perspective, I'd be excited about what the defense would look like. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Rams are on the clock right now, by the way.
Rams for the first time. They just tweeted out the Titanic meme where it's like, it's been 84 years since they were on the clock. Literally, Jared Goff was the last time they drafted a player in the first round. It's insane. Complete insanity. But it looks like they're going to pick at 19. You know,
talking about
interesting stuff.
talking about corners though, man. What do you guys think of TJ Tampa? You know, do you know much
I
about
have
him?
no opinions because when I've scouted
Okay.
corners this year, it's been the depth guys they might take in the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. So Tampa is a guy who has totally escaped me. I haven't watched a single snap of his.
Okay. I thought maybe,
What are your thoughts?
I like him. I like him at the bottom of the 2nd round, top of the 3rd round. I think
Okay.
that's where he could go. And it's just, he's to describe. He's like watching water. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He just flows to wherever the ball is, and once again, we're getting back to like footwork. His footwork isn't perfect, but again, like with a quarterback, you can fix that with a cornerback as well.
Exactly.
Agreed. He's somebody that can come in here, work on the other side of Gonzalez, and this defense would only get better.
Yeah. Hey, I'm down with it. All right, another pick. Here we go. With the 19th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams are finally making a 1st-round pick. They are taking Jared Verse, defensive end from Florida State.
Wow.
I mean, listen, here's a guy that he's a beast. He's a beast. He's really good. I like him quite a bit. And you're getting him at 19. I mean, Verse was a guy that was projected to go in the top 15. And so getting him here at 19, I think is a nice get for them for sure.
Well, he was a projected top 5 pick coming into the season. Freak athlete, traditional even front defensive end.
Yeah. He wins with how strong he is, though. He's his arms aren't very long, but a good solid pick. You could do a lot worse than him right here.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be a 1-for-1 replacement of Aaron Donald. Nobody is, but different position on the line. But I like that they're going right back to the defensive line. And I know there were some people who said, "Hey, it's Sean McVay's first round pick and forever. They're definitely going to go offense." I'm not surprised at all that they went defense. But you got Sean McVay. You can plug 3rd and 4th rounders into your offense and make it work.
When I'm thinking about guys on the defensive line, I want those hard hat kind of guys, and that's what he is.
Yeah, agreed. I like that. Pittsburgh's on the clock here at 20. You gotta think it's got to be a corner, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't have any corners.
They have nobody.
Well, they don't have good tackles either, right?
Well, they drafted Broderick Jones last year.
Yeah,
and so I guess theoretically, but I mean, I guess if you want to draft a right tackle,
some depth, and there's right tackles out.
But they have nobody
in that secondary.
Not just
cornerback. That secondary is terrible. They could also go linebacker here.
Remember, they got Swiss cheesed by Bailey Zappi last year,
right?
So I mean,
yeah. But their starting left tackle is Dan Moore.
Yeah, I know. So, you're not wrong. Wait, Broderick Jones played right tackle last year? I thought Broderick Jones was a left tackle.
He's a left tackle.
He's their right tackle on this.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right, listen, we have some little Jets talk
because Junior came here because they drafted Jones to replace him. So that's right.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Little Jets talk. It's my guy, Paul Boy Green, man. What's Paul Boy Green? We're not calling
whatever you feel comfortable with. Yeah, that's right. We're friendly.
The Jets didn't screw it up. Unbelievable. They didn't screw it up. How good are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's funny because I was watching the NFL Network broadcast. So the Jets get to 10, and then Daniel Jeremiah immediately goes, boy, I don't care if this is true or not. Whoop, Vikings. Oh, my phone's blowing up. You better hurry up. And it was funny. And then all of a sudden you see the trade graphic. I'm like, no friggin' way. And I'm like, man, I wonder how much they juiced out of the Vikings because obviously there's no world that the Jets were taking J.J. McCarthy. But Joe Douglas in his presser shortly after said his phone was blowing up. So maybe that's blowing smoke up everyone's skirt, or it's true that because Denver ended up going with Bo Nix. So maybe that ended up being genuine in terms of that quarterback interest. But to pick up ultimately a fourth. They have 3/4 now. A fifth. They moved up a little. The Zach Wilson pick that they just got gets now kind of like lost in the shuffle because that gets sent over to Minnesota. It's a great move. The Jets back up. I kind of evaluated. I loved Olu. Olu is my second favorite tackle in this class. I love the purity of the left tackle thing. All the other guys are rights, and you have to kind of project, and that, that could be a dangerous game. We'll see how it works with like Joe Alt, because Rashawn Slater's not jumping over to the right side at 5. So Olu's a guy I liked a lot. So to be able to move back a pick and still get Olu and get everything else, to get that premium insurance, I think Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses I love them as starters, but now to have that ultimate insurance policy with the number 11 overall pick, it's a blessing.
Well, and I think this sets you up nicely too, because, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be here for that much longer. And now whenever you draft a quarterback in the future, in theory, you should have your franchise tackle that he can play behind. And that's one less issue that will have to be, fixed. Like you have your wide receiver 1, you have your franchise tackle, and in 2 years or 1 year, or whatever it is, you're going for a quarterback. You got a supporting cast.
Or
it's compelling. I would just add that, Matt.
Now,
go ahead, Murph.
Cast they have now, they end up trading or signing another free agent quarterback. They're good to go because like I said, these offensive tackles, these offensive linemen don't move around, and you see these quarterbacks just skating all over the NFL every single year now.
Yep.
100%. And I will just say, again, to the first point that Matt made about it, is that you have your left tackle, and who better to learn from? I consider Tyron Smith, and maybe it's different strokes for different folks. I think he's one of the best left tackles of this generation. He's an absolute stud, a superstar. He's going to moonwalk into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a spectacular guy. And for Olu, again, he doesn't have to start immediately. The Jets have their 5 starters in pencil right now, so Olu doesn't even have an immediate starting job, and I would be surprised, quite frankly, if ultimately he was beat out in any other way for that potentially. So he gets to learn behind Tyron, and if Tyron kind of walks off into the sunset after 1 year, Olu's job next year. If Tyron comes back on another 1-year deal, there's more opportunities for it. So really exciting stuff.
All right. Yeah, I mean, all right. We'll just gonna pause the Jets talk for a little bit because with the 20th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers have crushed my hopes and dreams and have taken Troy Fautanu, tackle, screw you, Mel Kiper, tackle from Washington.
Wow.
I love
that pick.
He's better than Dan Moore, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. Yeah.
And I'm surprised because there were some medical red flags that came out on his knee apparently this week that could have been just BS that came out. So I heard that, which could have contributed a little bit to the slide. I mean, the versatility is obvious to be able to play anywhere. The Steelers lost their center, so I don't know if Fautanu will play there. But Mel Kiper was kind of singing that recently, that he thinks he could play any position on the offensive line. So could even go in that direction. But yeah, I love that pick. Steelers making a Steelers pick, not surprising.
Yep, agreed. And it's, 2 years in a row they've drafted offensive line in the first round. And, I just think it makes sense. You build through the draft on the offensive line, start with the lines and go from there. So, but I'm excited about it. I hate it. I hate wanting Fontano here in New England, but that's okay.
Yep.
So Paul, let's talk a little Patriots. Okay.
Oh yeah, baby.
How do you feel about Drake Maye now being in the division? Of course, I think that, Drake May's probably not going to play much this year. But what did you think about Drake Maye as a prospect, and how do you feel about him being in New England now?
I'll be honest. I'll give you the Jet fan perspective. As soon as the season ended, the fear was like winning that Patriots game would hand Drake Maye a silver platter to Patriots fans. So that was the initial thing back in whenever that was, January. And then as the process kind of evolved, it seemed like, whoa, Jane Daniels is the one going to. The Patriots are still going to get Drake Maye. Is that good, bad, indifferent? What's that all over the place? The only thing I fear, and it'll be interesting because we haven't seen this forever in New England land, again, unless you count Mac Jones, is that are they going to press the big red button in the middle of the room, which almost everyone does outside of Patrick Mahomes? You have him where he only played that last, game that didn't matter in his rookie season, or Jordan Love's or what have you. There's very limited examples where, the Jaguars with Blake Bortles just said, oh, no, he's never going to play. Then he ends up playing. So, that's the big red button in the middle of the room. I'm curious if the Patriots do, because I heard Daniel Jeremiah talking about, I'm sorry to bring this one up, the 6-0 win that the Chargers had in New England land, and just the nastiness of Patriot fans going, oh, there's no hope or inspiration. What the hell's going on here? So I imagine for Patriot fans are celebrating tonight. They're like, ooh, the golden prize here, the golden goose. This is Drake Maye, Jacoby Brissett. Let's get Drake Maye's ass out there. That's normally the pressure that's cooked up from fans. I think Drake Maye, like everybody else, he would benefit from kind of sitting back, and you think you would have that opportunity with the Jacoby. So I think he's super talented. It's all about the offensive staff. As long as you don't have, Joe Judge and Matt Patricia working the offense, I think he's got a halfway decent chance. Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. That's a great point.
But I'm glad
so bad.
My only memory of that Pats Chargers game is Quinton Johnston dropping a wide open pass. I don't remember anything else.
Yeah.
And that could have been from any Chargers game this year. That could have been a transplant memory from something else. But
that's true.
By the way, if anybody, what do you call it? If we want to laugh at Adam Schefter for a second,
sure. Okay.
We all know how strangely worded his tweets are, right? Especially on draft night.
Oh, what happened?
I brought my attention to this one. This is a fun one. Sean Payton wanted and intended to draft Patrick Mahomes in the 2017 draft when he held the 11th overall pick. He was ready to turn in the card. But before he could, the Chiefs traded up to the Bills' spot at 10 and took Mahomes one spot before Peyton got him, leaving the Saints to draft Marshawn Lattimore. Peyton feels as strongly about Bo Nix as he did Mahomes.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
God. Jesus Christ. Man, Adam
I've heard the
Schefter.
story. I will say, I heard it from years ago from Breer, who told us about the Peyton Mahomes story. So I think there's legs to it. But this Nix, I feel just
come on.
I mean, come on,
man.
Hey, you got to stay in the good graces, I guess. But my God,
I'm glad we're starting with realistic expectations for the sixth quarterback off the board.
Right. I mean, that's
quarterbacks on the top 12 picks. I mean, holy crap! I did not have that on the bingo card today. I'll tell you that.
No.
What do you think about Penix to Atlanta?
Yeah.
I love Penix. I'm going to be honest. On my radio show, my intern asked me this week leading into draft content, basically where are these quarterbacks going to be in 10 years? How would you rank them of how their careers are going to go? And the number one quarterback I said is going to be Michael Penix Jr. I friggin' love Michael Penix. I think he's going to be a stud. And it works out in Atlanta because I know he's an older prospect, so maybe that thing will scare people off because of the Cousins run. When he finally gets out there, it would be Brandon Weeden age by the time it's on the field. But the team is just set up, man. So eventually, whenever he gets that opportunity, although Kirk is normally, outside of this Achilles, he's normally super healthy. So I don't know when we're ever going to see Penix. But I love the player. I love the fit down there. And he just lets it loose. Oh, God. He's just so tantalizing as a prospect. If the Jets were in a different position, I would have wanted him.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's my best thrower in this draft. He throws the best ball in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of what you think about the talent around him and the steps that he took when he moved out there, compared to earlier in his career, I wasn't worried about his knees at all anymore. That wasn't a concern to me. I would have liked the Patriots to get him at the bottom of the first round or in the second round, but these guys ladder climb so much every single year. And I just, Matt brought it up earlier. I don't understand what Atlanta was thinking after shelling out this kind of cash to Cousins, unless they're afraid that he's broken down. And if you were, why would you give him this kind of money? Penix is gonna, if Cousins plays out this contract, Penix could be looking. You could be looking at giving this guy a monster deal to keep him in Atlanta, and he might have only played 14 games.
Right. It's wild. And, I will say it's worth it just for the fact that we've now gotten two Brandon Weeden mentions on the broadcast. So, I mean, it's worth it just for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
can I? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say the big thing for me is the Cousins. The Cousins part of it is what I don't like. You want to draft Michael Penix at number 8. I get it. I see it. I worry about the injury history and I worry about how well he's going to hold up and everything like that. But I get it. He's a stud, right? And I'm okay with taking him. I just feel like, why the hell are you paying Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed? Like, what are you doing? Especially since that happened after, like, you've already met with these guys.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? That's crazy to me.
Now, what I do like about this is that, Penix isn't always the most precise quarterback. He can spray a little bit when he throws, but he isn't afraid to give his receivers chances. And when two of your top guys are Kyle Pitts and Drake London, bigger receivers who have the big catch radius and can go make plays on the ball in the air, I think stylistically that's a fit. If you wanted the closest thing to having, Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk in terms of two size guys who can win matchups for you in the NFL might be what they're doing in Atlanta. So
I just
Kyle Pitts fantasy stock up, baby. About damn time. Jesus.
I just want to point out
for 2 years from now.
This is the only live draft show that anybody in this country or anywhere else on the planet could tune into and hear a Rome Ordunez quote twice, and Todd Blackledge was invoked tonight.
Very nice.
I like
Good
it.
variety
like
in the diet here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Another one.
Okay.
The Miami Dolphins, with the 21st pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, select Chop Robinson, D-end from Penn State.
Wow.
It
just sucks what happens. Think about the Jalen Phillips thing, Bradley Chubb. That just sucks. Both of those injuries happened super late in the year. Who knows when they're coming back? That's brutal.
That's right. Phillips did get hurt. That's right. Yeah. Phillips did get hurt last year. That's right. That's right.
At MetLife, right?
Yeah, that was. Ironically enough. Of course it was. The Black Friday game. Yeah.
Of course.
At the end of the game, too, they should have clearly pulled their stars. They were kicking the Jets' ass. Stop me if you've heard that before. And they still had him out there. And he blew, and you just saw it immediately. And you just, I knew because of, unfortunately, all the Jets' Achilles injuries over the years. You knew immediately it was over. Brutal.
I don't get this pick when you have the offensive line that the Dolphins do and some good offensive linemen on the board. I guess I probably would have gone corner above edge defender for needs for them.
Yeah. One again,
what I'm saying is that the NFL does not like the corners this year. We've had multiple teams that could have a need at corner pass on these guys.
Yeah.
So
and again, like Chubb and Phillips are both recovering from injuries. That's true. But you also have Chubb and Phillips. Like we're not, we're not talking about just this year.
Yeah, right.
So it's like you're drafting a guy in the first round when the first corner is still on the board, when you have offensive line talent still on the board, and you're drafting a guy who's an edge rusher when you have edge rushers. It's just strange to me.
It works for me in the AFC East. Miami,
That's
keep doing that. A+.
But I mean, look at who they have on the edge right now, and the contracts that they might be looking at to come up, and to take Chop right now would it's looking into the future. I think.
Yeah,
I really do. I think it's looking into the future.
You might be right. And listen, I mean, honestly, if the guy,
he needs coaching. Chop Robinson needs coaching. Okay,
and what it all
he hasn't gotten a lot of it.
Right. Can the guys play? If the guys can play, it doesn't matter. Right. Who cares what position they play? If they're studs, then you'll find a way to get them on the field. You know what I mean? So that becomes one of those things where it's like, if you looked at this guy and think he's the best player, well, what are we going to do? You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. So I like the player, but the fit seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say,
honestly, I like Isaac more than I like Chalk Robinson. I just, put him and get him some lasagna, get him some freaking Italian bread, and let's go. Yes, I am the Irish Italian.
Okay. Hey, I'm Irish Italian too. Yeah,
me too.
Look at that. I will say,
I'm 100. You guys didn't know that I was imported. I was born in Ireland, but I came here to find good Italian food.
Did you find it?
There you go.
Yo, look at me.
Yeah, good point.
With Chop Robinson, I will say his get off is insane. Yeah. He's a great speed rusher. So if you're Miami, and you know that you're going to be in a lot of high scoring games and you're going to might be playing with the lead, this is a guy who's, I think, really good in that situation when he can just tee off on opposing passers. He's a good player, but
yeah. I think he's a phenomenal athlete, and I think he'll get the coaching down there, unfortunately, that he needs.
Right.
Hopefully not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now Philly's sitting on the clock with a need in the defensive back. Again, another team with a need in the defensive backfield.
Mhm.
And you just feel like it's got to be a corner here. And whether it's DeJean, who, again, we said can play really anywhere, I think he might be best suited long-term at free safety. But I think he has the ability to play pretty much anywhere in the defensive backfield. Or whether they go with, Mitchell from Toledo, or whether, even McKinstry.
About Arnold.
Or
Terry Arnold,
right?
Terry Arnold is still on the
top
board.
10 pick, right?
How do the Eagles keep getting away with this? I mean,
do we think they're going to take? They might not take secondary though. The way this draft has been going,
maybe
Howie always goes
draft board every year for being fun, because I hear it's fun to play there. So
Howie always goes for the, what do you call it? The like high positional value things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look, like a guy like Johnny Newton here wouldn't surprise me one bit. If they're okay with the medicals on any of the receivers, that also wouldn't shock me here either. I don't think they're going to take a tackle.
Yeah.
Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't think they would go Jackson Powers Johnson this high.
Our guy Matt Manito.
Oh, Matt Manito. What's up?
Oh, he said he knows a guy in the Broncos scouting department. Yeah. I hope Nick's works out for him as well. I'm not confident, but for him, for his sake, I hope.
I don't think Nick's is going to be a bad quarterback. No. I just also don't think he's going to be a good quarterback.
Well, that's the issue, right?
Yeah. He is. I think he's destined to live in the Jacoby Brissett to Jimmy Garoppolo range for his entire career.
That's the kind of guy you want to draft 12th overall. Nice.
Exactly. Yes. When you also don't have a good team and you also don't have a lot of picks too.
And they don't even have any wide receivers. They just traded. Well, I mean, they have Cortland Sutton, but
Cortland still. But that seems like that could be gone. Yeah, soon enough.
It's crazy. So
we're getting down to it. None of us here are really used to drafting this high and trying to fill in, and talk about all these other draftings. We're usually sitting here with bated breath for Bill to trade out into the second and third round.
Although Paul's used to it. Paul's used to trading.
I wasn't going to say that.
I appreciate that. That's it.
I was going to wait. I was going to wait for Paul to leave.
I appreciate the implied kindness there. Very nice.
I got something for you, Boy Green. I think you'll like.
Yeah, shoot, baby.
Bo Nix, only 6 months younger than Zach Wilson.
I love those because it just who was it else? Because Penix is older. There was someone else too. Yeah, I love when they bring that up. They did it for Sam Darnold forever. Oh boy, look at a couple of months. All right, we're jumping on it here. So it's hilarious. So hey, maybe it is the Jets joke though. Maybe they're the low hanging fruit. He ends up in Denver. He starts at Ben DiNucci, Bo Nix, and Jarrett Stidham. Maybe he could find a way. I don't know. That's probably his best chance. No. And all of a sudden, Sean Payton works his magic, and the Jets look like idiots. I've seen that story before. Could happen.
I can't imagine. I don't think you have anything to worry about.
But
Yeah.
No, I just go back to the old North Dallas 40 line. Do you speak Canadian?
Yeah.
And
Murph with the old school references tonight. I love all the old school. You can always depend on Murph for making the references that only people over 40
that only Murph would know, and everybody else is like, "What? Huh?"
Listen, I know North Dallas 40, so it's it's fine.
Every football fan should.
I'm with you. Hey, Paul, I know you got to run. Thank you so much for coming through. We really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I know you're a Jets guy. We still like you though. We still like you. And again, the Jets didn't screw it up. Congrats on a nice first day. You pick up an extra few picks in there as well. And I actually think it's better to trade that pick away that you got for Zach Wilson, because now it's just wiped from existence.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant.
I agree.
Nice.
And
meeting
also,
you,
make
Paul.
sure you guys stay on late. I saw Gerard Mayo saying, "Hey, we might be jumping back in." So you guys
we're
might
not
wanna be
going.
keeping
We're not
tabs.
going anywhere,
We're not
baby.
going
We're going to
anywhere.
be here to the long haul.
All right, I love
Yeah.
it. So, cheers to you guys and Drake May and the new Patriots era. Gerard Mayo, I love him. So, hopefully, he ends up doing awesome for you guys. So, thanks for having me on. We'll have to do this again soon.
Yes,
Yeah,
thanks,
for
Paul.
coming.
Appreciate it, man.
All
Have
right,
a great
thanks,
night,
Good meeting
and
you, bud.
we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, can't wait, guys. See you.
All right,
Jets
see ya.
suck.
That was great. That was great. All right, here we go. All right, with the 22nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles have selected Quinyon Mitchell, corner, Toledo. The freaking Eagles do it again. For the love of God. For the love of God. I can't. How? Right? It's like the Aaron Paul gift. Like he keeps getting away with it. Like how do they keep getting away with it?
You
So here's the
know,
thing. I don't know if I have that reaction because this dude fell like 10 spots further than he was supposed to in the consensus, and multiple corner needy teams passed on him. I like his profile a lot. I think he's good, but just that fact concerns me just a little bit.
But then again, every other corner is in the same boat.
Yeah,
He's
no,
the
I'm
first corner
concerned
taken,
about all
right?
of them.
I think he's
Yeah.
a cornerback one. I think it was a great pick.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers he's put up over the past 2 years, it's you would think that he was dating somebody at PFF. You know, honestly, and it's true. He's a fantastic pick. He's a good. I'm glad he's not in our division.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we go from one AFC East rival to another. Jay Spence, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas? How's it going?
Doing good. We're doing good. We're out here. We're enjoying ourselves. We're loving the fact that we have a brand new quarterback that everyone's comparing to your quarterback. So, maybe one day he'll be as good as, his older brother Josh. That'd be awfully nice, wouldn't it?
And it'll be fun. It would make for a lot of fun football in the AFC East. And I think for me, one thing that I'm actually enjoying just in general about the division over the last couple of years, and I know for you guys, it felt like the Patriots were kind of taking a back seat. Well, I mean, beating you guys have been good for me too, but I'm just saying in general, I know, I feel like, because the Jets, I know it didn't quite go last year the way they wanted it to with the injury to Aaron Rodgers, but it feels like this division is going to be tough just overall. It's going to be one of those things where for the next few years is going to be good competitive football all the way around. And I'm just excited about it because, I do, as a Bills fan, I feel like, okay, we're here. I know Stephon Diggs is gone and whatever. We're going to figure out a receiver. We're going to talk about it. I'm mad right now. Pat got an accidental text because I was going off. I'm mad about something and he laughed. But so I will talk about that in a minute. But I just think that the Bills are still going to be there. I think Miami is kind of in the same boat. They know they're going to be there. I think you guys feel like this is a move that you want to make. So you're making improvements. You're making the steps. I think the coaching staff, everything that I see outside looking in, I'm like, I kind of like their moves. I don't like that. I like it. I like that you got your quarterback, tonight, but you also brought back somebody who I appreciated very much once he left your team. And I don't know. I love a lot of the moves that you guys are making. Sorry for my dogs.
That's quite all right. We love the dogs. We love the pups. They just got to come on camera the next time. You know what I mean? That's all. But no, you're right. And I will say, it is fun. Listen, for a long time, the Patriots beat up on the AFC East, and the AFCs could never keep up with the Patriots. But I do think it's more fun when all the teams are good and they're all fighting for position and they're all being competitive with each other. And look, the Patriots right now, they can't compete with the other teams in the division, and the Jets are the Jets, and so we'll see what happens with them. But on paper, the Patriots can't compete with the Jets. But I think that this is for the Patriots, they're trying to do it the right way, where it's the slow build. Let's build it up. Let's see what we can get. We're not giving up draft picks to move up. Now, they might give up a draft pick to move up at some point at the end of this first round. They kind of alluded to that. That might be a possibility. I think Tampa, by the way, makes a ton of sense for that, but we'll see what happens there. But, but they're not mortgaging the future right now. They understand that they're still building things. And so, I like the process from them. And I think that the AFC East has an opportunity in the next few years to be one of the strongest divisions in the NBA, in the NFL. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's time for you. It's the playoffs. You're with the Celtics. I know, but no, I agree with you. I think that the AFC East, man, is I think this division is going to be what everybody thought. I'm not saying this year. I think you got maybe another year or two before it really develops into that. But this division is going to be what everybody thought the AFC West was going to be when Russell Wilson. I mean, Wilson, see, I'm doing the same thing when Russell Wilson went out there and. So I feel like this is what it's going to be. So I'm excited for it, man. How I didn't get a chance to catch everything the full 3 hours. So were there any surprises for you guys? What shocked you so far, or is everything falling kind of how you?
The lack of defense.
Penix?
Lack of defense taken in the first round, and but what Matt
and Michael Penix,
Penix is wow.
All right. Speaking of surprising a little bit, we have another pick. I don't know if it's super surprising, but here we go. With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver from LSU. I know that isn't your Spencer. So, and that's I'm interested here because
welcome to the last 20 years of my life.
Yeah, right.
It
just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. Like, okay, so I get it, and there's a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball in this draft. You're gonna have a lot of depth in the wide receiver position, but you got rid of Stephon Diggs, and I get why. You could see Josh Allen. You could tell he's lighter. He's happier. You could just tell that things feel better for him around one Bills drive, but. Regardless of what you want to say about his attitude and all that, Stephon Diggs is still a top, whatever number you want to put him at, he's in the top upper echelon of wide receivers in the NFL. Right. You have to replace as much of that production as you can. And right now, you missed out on the big three. You're missing out on like the fringe of the big three, the big five guys. I don't know, man. Like, and I'm just, as much as I love Brandon Beane, I've gotten to the point where I feel like, this whole trust the process thing is starting to get, it's just a little played. And I know, as Patriots fans, it's like, well, yeah, we got Super Bowl, so I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to say. But for Bills fans, it's like, you get tired of being close. You get tired of being close after.
Mitchell,
here's the thing I will say about this is that Brian Thomas has the injury concerns. Right. And
but Mitchell also has the diabetes concern, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't that the gentleman with the diabetes?
I don't think it's crazy to have somebody who isn't Brian Thomas or AD Mitchell as your wide receiver 4 this year. I think, especially with some of the concerns, you get to this point and it's totally, the next 5 or 6 receivers off the board to me are similar in value to a degree, and it's just about fit and how you like the personality. So,
I think they could look,
especially. I don't know if I'm like Jacksonville doesn't have the greatest track record with these guys either.
No.
So
any guys for that matter.
Not true.
Yes,
but I think they could look. I think they could look at Xavier Leggett, right? Maybe Xavier Worthy, although I don't think he belongs there. But you never know. Like that's
Troy
a possibility.
Franklin.
Troy Franklin with the arm that Josh has, to have a guy with the speed of Troy Franklin who actually can run a route, unlike number 11 for the Patriots. He can actually run a route, and so that helps, I think. And so it gets. I can see that pick making sense. And so there are still a good amount of players there for Buffalo if they want to, maybe move up a few spots, maybe even sit at 28 and just kind of see how the board comes to you.
I don't think Franklin's a number 1, but he's definitely a high-end number 2 guy. And he's just so smooth. He just plays so smooth.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it's, I don't know. I like Brian Thomas Jr. a lot, but I also don't know if this is the guy that I'm looking at saying, oh God, like I can't believe we didn't get him. And I might be wrong about that, but that's kind of how I feel about that.
I'm saying from what's left in the draft to me, what I'm looking at as far as production wise, what I feel like is left that Josh Allen is going to be able to replace what we lose with Stephon Diggs gone.
Yeah.
That's my reaction there. My real reaction was the fact that we got all of this extra draft capital and we didn't use it to trade up to try and get one of the top guys. That's my real frustration. You saw the real frustration in the DM.
But do you think Buffalo was looking at it like we need to fill so many spots and so many holes that trading up right now for one of these guys would hurt us in the long run? No,
I think what's really happening is if you actually take a look, like outside of my emotions, if you take a step back and you look at the way the offense looked after the Buffalo Bills made the change from offensive coordinator, when we made that whole switch, the offense looked completely different and we were better. The ball moved better. We ran the ball better. Dalton Kincaid got more involved. You see Khalil Shakir is looking pretty good in the offense as well. And Stephon Diggs' numbers did suffer. They did go back and the offense still succeeded. So I think the Buffalo Bills are looking at this like, look, if a guy just so happens to fall to us, hallelujah, we'll take it. But I think we have a plan for our offense and we're going to work that plan and we're going to have the offense look the way that it does. And so I just think that they're comfortable with however this thing is going to fall. That's why they didn't move up. But fan, I'm trying to, this is just my emotions. I gotta.
Will you be disappointed if they go on the defensive side of the ball with all the talent that's still out there that's fallen down this far?
I will, because I know there's a ton of conversation that they're actually looking at a safety, and that who is it? Cooper DeJean. Yeah. So I've been getting text message, like, I mean, my Bills insiders is like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing everything. So I hope not. I would be very upset. Very upset. But at the same time,
getting a hell of a player if you do. You've got somebody that could play in, any position in the defensive backfield, and it makes you super versatile and quite deep. And
that's understandable. That's understandable. But when the biggest need right now, and I don't want to keep harping on the fact that we lost Stephon Diggs, but what I fear happen when you look at what happened with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers over the years. Aaron Rodgers, we knew how good he was, and he kind of elevated certain guys around him, and then he, wasn't a first rounder, but he finally got Devontae Adams, so that was his guy. But they never really made sure, like they never said, you know what, Aaron, we know that we have a generational talent here for a certain amount of time for your career. That's all you got. Let's make sure we go and get the guy. Let's go get a guy as often as we can that can benefit your talents. I think the Buffalo Bills will be doing a disservice to Josh Allen. They'll be doing a disservice to their season ticket holders by not making sure that they provide Josh Allen with the weapons necessary to compete with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and all these other guys. I mean, you got Miami in your division, man. Like, the offense is scary. And if the Bills don't, you're going to have to score.
I understand. I just think about football in a different way. Okay,
yeah, right.
You saw it with New England for 20 years. Everybody trying to catch up to and outscore what the Patriots were doing, instead of figuring out a way to stop them and building your defense. And that's the way. I after 20 years of Bill Belichick, maybe it's I'm brainwashed a little bit, but I think stopping that high-powered offense is easier than trying to keep up with it.
And that's fair. That's fair. But my question to you is, because I think that you could say that for certain teams, but I think when you're looking at like the teams in our division and you look at what the Bills just went through, because if you get a safety, the Bills lost more than a safety this year. We let go of a lot of key guys that have been foundational pieces in the success that the Bills have had over the last several years now. So, when you're looking at that, I agree with you about depth there. But when you're talking about stopping the other team, you need more than just the replacement of Jordan Poyer. You're going to need more than that this year on defense.
I will say, I think if you're looking for receivers here, it's a very deep draft for it, and I think Buffalo needs multiple guys. So I wouldn't be surprised here if the strategy is, especially if you got an elite defender on the board when the Bills come on the clock, take a defender there and take receiving options with your second and third round picks, or even use 3 picks if you want to mix tight end in there somewhere if there's someone that's good. And as you know, with Stephon Diggs, who was a day 3 pick coming out of college, you can get high quality receivers later in the draft. I firmly believe that unless you're picking in like the top 10 of the draft, and even then it's still hit or miss. You want receiving talent. Quantity almost matters more than quality with the picks you're throwing at the position.
All right, listen, hold on. We got to pause because we have a trade. And the Detroit Lions, the hometown Detroit Lions, have traded up to 24 with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm waiting on compensation for it, but I do have the pick. And so let's do it.
Let me get my thing ready over here. We got a lot going on at once.
I know. That's the problem.
So they traded with Dallas?
They traded with Dallas, yes. Yep. So they're at 24.
This is very interesting right here.
Yep. I'm curious about what the trade looked like, but here we go with the pick. With the 24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions, through a trade with the Dallas Cowboys, have taken Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. I couldn't love this more. Detroit already has an awesome offense. Their defense has been lacking. They drafted Brian Branch last year, who did a fantastic job at safety. They continue to add to their secondary, which they have to do. And I absolutely love it. I'm surprised that Arnold wasn't the first corner off the board, but he goes here. And again, he's a guy who's projected to be could have been a top 10 pick. For a lot of people thought
at least
he drops all the way to 24. So that's big. And as Spectre Dez points out, a run on corners is better than the run on wideouts. So for both the Patriots and the Bills, who might be looking for wideouts, both of those positions are still available.
Yeah, this kid needs some polish. Yeah, this kid needs some polish. But no, I'm with Pat. I'm surprised that he wasn't the first guy off the board.
Yep.
He's not as versatile as some other guys, but he's a true athlete that can shut folks down. He'll be a number 1 corner in the league.
I agree.
So,
all right,
so Pat. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm sorry. It's been over an hour. We got to take a quick ad break, and then we'll be back. And Spence, I'll let you ask that question next. I do have some thoughts on the Josh Allen offense thing too. So we'll be back in a minute. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan, from basketball, baseball, and hockey to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Aaron Judge, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, Prize Picks will have your back and not count that as a loss. Now this week, I'm actually going with Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, and Bobby Witt Jr. to have over 1.5 total bases, and I'm going with Kevin Durant for more than 28 points and Nikola Jokic with more than 10 rebounds. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, if you download the app today and put in the code CLNS, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. We got the trade terms are out as well. The Lions moved up to 24 and got a 7th round pick next year. The Cowboys got 29 and number 73, so a 3rd round pick this year. I like that quite a bit. For both sides, to be honest with you. If you're Dallas, I think Dallas probably could have used a corner, but if you're moving back, you're picking up an extra top 100 pick. I don't hate that at all. So
I don't hate it, but I agree. You could have used another cornerback. I know you're getting Diggs back, but at the same time, you don't know how healthy Diggs is going to be coming back from that injury. So
exactly.
I agree with you. I would have went cornerback, but hey, you're right. The draft capital, I'm not mad. Let me ask you guys this. So, with the pick tonight, you guys were excited. You got your quarterback now. So do you think he's coming in day one start, or do you think it's going to be a process where they kind of, he's going to sit a bit, or what are you looking forward to with this whole process?
Yeah, I think he's going to have to sit for a little while. whether it's a full year, whether it's half a year, I think you go into this process knowing that he's not starting right away. And I think you have Jacoby Brissett, who's an adequate quarterback. I think
Jacoby.
that, he'll learn from Jacoby Brissett. I think Brissett is an incredibly smart guy. He's a guy that is a leader in the locker room. So you see how a professional operates and runs the team. And then, he's got footwork stuff to work on. You got to coach that out of him. But I think they can do that. I think that can be coached out of him. You give him the time to go from there. And I think you let him sit. And again, maybe not the whole year, but I would say at least 10 weeks or so.
I have a different perspective on this. I'm not so sure that he needs to sit. I think you can let him earn the job in camp if you want. I don't think you make any decisions on this until you see these quarterbacks probably for about a week throwing in camp with receivers, see the progress that's made. Because I think the issue with Drake May is just, especially right away, it's just consistency with his mechanics. If you have him in camp for a couple of weeks and you work with him over the offseason, and by the time you get to the second week of the preseason, you think his mechanics and his footwork look a lot better, then I don't know if there's a reason not to put him out there other than you just want to protect him and work on mental development, which is fine. But, Josh Allen started from pretty early on as a rookie there, and that didn't hinder his development. So, I think you discover it once you get your hands on him and start to work with him.
Yeah,
Josh isn't common though. Let's throw that out.
No, right, but not. I mean, you're looking for a guy who isn't common. Also, that's the end.
True. But I mean, because to be honest with you, and I warn Bills fans that all the time as well, because it's like, we have to appreciate them. Like, I think we take advantage of it a lot of times. We take it for granted, and I say we have to understand, like, this guy is not, because before him there aren't many quarterbacks in history. You say the pick is in. You want to go ahead and do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, here we go. I wanted to make sure that Matt got it. Here we go. With the 25th pick in the 2024 draft, the Green Bay Packers literally sprinted to the phones. They have been on the clock for a minute. They are taking Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle from Arizona.
Damn.
I'm a fan of that pick.
Right.
I like it quite a bit. And, another corner comes off the board. And this is where we thought the Patriots might be, where it's like you're looking at it saying corners are off the board, but there's still a good amount of solid wide receivers that are left. I think Jordan Morgan is more of a right tackle than a left tackle. So I think he's not a great fit for the Patriots. I think he also may have to play guard in the NFL. But still, a talented player who I think is, was kind of a mid-second round pick and has jumped up the draft boards a bit once everyone got a hold of him and really looked at him.
I am shocked this isn't Cooper DeJean. We said earlier the two teams we didn't think DeJean would make it past were Detroit and Green Bay. He just slid past both of them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing Buffalo loves him. I'm hearing that we love him.
All right.
I'm hoping, again, you know what I said. I want a receiver.
I was going to say, you came on here an hour before they picked, and if they draft Cooper DeJean, it's going to be you're not going to be happy about it, but we're going to be like, hey, man, Spence is keyed in. Knows what he's talking about. Not that we didn't already know that, but
Well, no, I mean, I've been wrong. I've had direct things told from players to me about what they were going to do, and then they switched their mind. They changed their minds the next day, and I look like a complete idiot. So I've learned to say, "Hey, I don't know. This is what I'm hearing, but I don't know." I've learned to really take a step back.
Right.
Yep. Somebody in our business's favorite or best friend is, I don't know, but this is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. Yep. This is what I was told by someone. Doesn't mean it's true. That's what
Morgan's
I was told.
a good pick, but like Pat said, I think he's going to end up being a guard. I don't think he's strong enough to play tackle in this league, and I don't know if he can. I don't know. Maybe they could put the weight on him and get him in a weight room and make him a little bit stronger. I don't know. Diet and exercise just don't always do it.
Yeah, I do think tackle makes sense to them. And they lost David Bakhtiari. They have a need on the offensive line, so I think it makes sense. But yeah, I kind of agree that Cooper DeJean is the more talented player here. But, we'll see what happens. I think Tyler Guyton, he could be the guy, man. And again, Tampa Bay, has been chatting. There's been a lot of chatter about Tampa moving out of 26. And, the Patriots flat out said that, hey, stick around because we might move back up into the end of the first round. So,
Not sure that's what we heard.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. And so that's one of those things where it's like, it seems like it could be a good match, but then again, the board looks a heck of a lot different than Tampa may have thought it might have looked at the beginning of the day. So, depending on what they are looking for, they might just want to stick and pick. So
for Jordan Morgan here, I think it's worth noting this Green Bay offense outside of Jordan Love doesn't have a single first rounder starting. It's all day 2, day 3 guys. Their left tackle is Rasheed Walker, who is a 7th round pick. Their right tackle is Zach Tom, who is a 4th round pick. Even if Jordan Morgan isn't quite the tackle that you hope he ends up being, he might still be an upgrade over one of those guys. I think you're hoping that he is. If he isn't, it's Sean Ryan and Elton Jenkins at your guard spots. Either one of those guys is unreplaceable. So I like it for Green Bay. You get he's a scheme fit with the zone stuff they do. He can play at a bunch of different spots.
Mm-hmm.
I think doesn't have a super high ceiling, but his floor is high. I don't see a world where he ends up being a bad player. He might just not end up being a tackle.
Yep. Agreed. All right.
I thought he was going to go to San Francisco, by the way. And he's off the board before that.
Yeah. Another pick. The picks are flying in right now. Yeah. Flying in.
And this is Tampa?
This is Tampa Bay, who did not trade out. Did not trade out. I like this pick quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, with the 26th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are selecting Graham Barton, I assume guard, from Duke. This kid is a beast. I like this kid a lot. Again, guard, center, interior offensive lineman. I felt like he's not a fit for the Patriots, but he's really good. And Tampa needs some offensive line help. And so I like this pick quite a bit for them. And again, I would have liked it for the Patriots, but I just didn't think that it made a ton of sense for what they're looking for.
I think Nate Tice said he thinks that Barton can play right tackle. I don't think NFL teams necessarily think that. But very, very versatile offensive lineman right here.
By the way, Ian Rappaport just tweeted out, we'll see if we get a trade, but there's a lot of action in the late 20s from teams trying to come up. So could be the Bills moving back. It could be, Arizona moving back with their second pick, who's on the clock right now, Arizona. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff for sure.
What's the Bucs look like at center? Because I see Graham Barton as a center.
They got Robert Hainsey there. Their interior offensive line is Sua Opeta from Philly. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard that name before. Robert Hainsey at center, Cody Mock at right guard. Cody is good. Hainsey, I think, is fine. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Barton slides into that left guard spot next to Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there you go. How about that? So it's interesting. I do like the Barton pick, so we'll see what happens. But I agree with you that he could play that center spot. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think he kicks in.
Yeah,
I think he's a guard or a center. I don't think he's a tackle.
So Spence, you're sitting here. Arizona's the only team in front of you right now, sitting here at 28. The question is, who is on the board that you want? Right? Who's the do you want Leggett? Like, who's the guy that you're looking at saying, man, like. I really hope
Leggett over Mitchell.
This guy, Mitchell.
I would go Leggett over Mitchell, and I don't think they're going to take. I mean, they just got Harrison, so I mean, to me at this point, well, I mean, they may double dip. Really give Kyler some weapons out here, man. They would love it out here in Phoenix, man. They've been hungry for some weapons. They've been hungry for some offense out here, so I can see Arizona absolutely doing that to kind of satisfy what the fans out here want, but I would love it if the Bills. That would be a good pick for me. Leggett.
As a Patriots fan, I would like that because I'm like Matt. I am not as high on Leggett as other people. I don't think he runs the best routes on the planet. I don't think he's ever been Truly, I think at the next level, he won't be a focal point of an offense. And so yeah, please take Xavier.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not like, again, what I said earlier was I felt that a lot of the draft capital that the Bills got was for the purpose of moving up to get one of the top guys. They didn't do that.
Right.
So at this point, like a lot of these guys that are left, I'm excited about some of them to the point where it's like, yeah, I would love to have them on my team, but I was hoping for something more, and it's just not it's not my kind of night, but that's okay. I'm trusting the process.
What surprised me, and maybe they didn't have any takers, right? Maybe Chicago wouldn't do it, but like I'm surprised they didn't try to package 28 in their first next year and move into the top 10 and get one of those top 3 guys, right? When Rome drops all the way to 9, and again, Chicago might be looking at it saying, well, screw that. We have to take this guy, right? And so maybe they didn't have an opportunity to do that. But, I look at it and just say like, man, like, I'm almost kind of surprised that they didn't. And again, they may have tried and that might come out later that, honestly, hey, we did our best to get up there, and everyone was like, no, we're not moving these guys,
if I was the Bears, I wouldn't make that deal. You're talking 2 top 25 picks, as opposed to somebody who's probably the hands down one of the best wide receivers in the league by the time he's, in his sophomore year. He's going to end up being a top 10. See, the dogs agree with me. And I don't think I'd make that move. It's just I just keep getting on because we've had so much talk around here about Xavier Leggett. I don't love him. I really don't. I think it would be, better if the Pats went in a different direction.
Yeah.
You're taking a real shot on a player that's built like him.
Correct.
We've already done that here. So,
all right, we have another pick in.
Is this confirmed?
This is confirmed.
I haven't seen it come up for me yet. So
it's it's from it's from the guy I've been getting it from the whole time. So here we go. All right, with the 27th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, we're coming to the end. Sad face. The Arizona Cardinals are selecting Darius Robinson, an edge from Missouri.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. This is a surprising pick to me. I don't think I've seen him in the first round in any mock.
No.
Seems like,
he started to sneak up there. I think he's in the top 32 of the where is he in the consensus? Let me check this. I think he's in the top 32 of the consensus. Yeah, he's 31st in the consensus.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he's more of a he is long, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. My thing is I didn't spend a ton of time on it. I'll be just completely honest with you. I didn't spend a ton of time on edge rushers because I was like, the Patriots don't need an edge rusher at least until later on in the draft. And so edge rushers in the 3rd, 4th round, yes. Edge rushers in the 1st round, not so much.
He's not a speed guy. He's a power guy. And we'll see if it's going to translate when he's going up against bigger, stronger, offensive linemen here. He's not somebody that's going to run by anyone.
Here's what I'll tell you, okay? I'm just on NFL.com, Lance Zierlein. Sources tell us he's still learning to play and kind of reminds me of Keon White with his traits and what he could become. Ooh. So I'm like, well, that's interesting.
So the Monty Ossenfort effect.
If that's the case, I'm on board with that pick for sure.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, so all the top guys on the consensus board left now that the Bills are on the clock: Johnny Newton, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Jackson Powers Johnson, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Those are the top 5. A.D. Mitchell, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman are the top 4 receivers according to the consensus.
So Mitchell is the guy you want, right? That's what you said. Spence?
No, I said Leggett.
No,
well,
he wants Leggett.
Yeah,
Leggett. Okay.
And, I guess he just talked me out of it though. So
I'm sorry.
So like
oh no, I can hear
but
you
hey,
on
listen.
your show tomorrow. I love this pick. Before I met this guy named Murph last night, and then
No,
now
it's all
they
good. It's all good because
Oh.
I'll be honest. I love having these conversations, from people with different perspectives. Because the way you're looking at that, as me saying like I want that guy on my team, you're like, yeah, I would love for the Patriots to defend him, like bring him on. And so no, that's awesome. That's awesome.
No, it's not so much. I'd love for them to. Yeah, it is. That's exactly
It
what
is.
it is. I'd love for them to have to defend this kid, and I hope you don't take AD Mitchell.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man.
I still can't tell how I feel about AD Mitchell. He seems so situation dependent.
I get you.
It's like you need the right coaching staff for him. I feel like.
And see, and okay, now I'm not a fan anymore. I'm not like all in on the Sean McDermott train. I'm not trusting Sean McDermott like I used to. I don't think
Smart.
he makes good decisions. Right.
No.
He is just situational, especially in the biggest moments of the biggest games. He just does not make good decisions.
He
And
steps
it's
all over
also
his Johnson, trying to
he
overthink
also
everything.
he kills the confidence of a lot of the key players. And I'm talking about the younger guys. We've seen him over and over pull running backs in situations where, if you make a mistake, okay, you make a mistake. You don't bench a guy for a half in a big game. We've seen him do that in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs a few years ago, where he benched, I think it was Devin Singletary, for the entire first half after fumbling the ball. Like you just, it's certain decisions you don't make. You don't do a fake punt to all right, we can get off of it. But the point is, I don't trust the coach. I don't trust him.
And I think that's what it's tough, man. And I think that
don't worry, Spence. The Bills are trading back right now anyway.
What?
That is Jonathan Jones 2 minutes ago. I don't have a partner for them yet.
Yeah,
as I said earlier, Spence, welcome to my world.
It says they're in trade talks, but it's not quite done.
Okay. Here's the thing. I think trading back for Buffalo isn't a bad player. If you don't like the receivers on the board, defense has a lot of holes. You're gonna have to use multiple picks at receiver anyway. Getting a couple extra picks to throw at that stuff. It's not sexy, but I do think it's the smart move.
Well, and when you're at the Patriots level, which is, and again, you haven't won the Super Bowl yet. True, but you're at the Patriots level where you're constantly competing. You're usually one of those final 4 to 8 teams in the NFL left standing, right? And that's every year. And that's what you're expecting every year. You're drafting at the end of the first round. And I've gone back and ran the numbers, Spence. And I'm going to just tell you right now, I've gone back and ran the numbers. And the last 10, the last 10 picks of the first round are almost exactly the same as the first 10 to 15 picks of the second round. They're almost exactly the same value. And that's for me, it's like, hey, if you move back and you're able to pick up a bunch, maybe not a bunch more, but if you're able to pick up more, I think then that's the way you build your team. It's frustrating when you have an obvious hole at wide receiver like you do, but that's kind of the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but you're right, because it's not just wide receiver. Like I said earlier, we let go of a lot of key foundational guys now that we don't have, and we don't even know if Micah Hyde is going to come back or not. He's talking about if he's going to retire. We don't know. So that's 2 safeties. And then, so you don't know. What did you get to?
It's the Kansas City friggin' Chiefs.
All right, guys, I'm out. You guys have a great night, man.
Why would you do that? Why would you do anything to help Kansas City?
Why would you?
So it's definitely a tackle here. Definitely a tackle here.
Yep. You think so?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Definitely a tackle. Let's see. I think you're probably right that it is going to be a tackle, and it probably is Tyler Guyton, right? If that's the case.
Yep. There were rumors about like Patrick Paul for KC too.
I know, man. He's a guy that I like for the Patriots because you have a really, really good offensive line coach, in my opinion. And if you can coach that guy up, he is a monster, he's absolute monster,
humongous, and he's the Lord Humongous.
Yeah.
Just going back to me throwing out old references from movies again.
But what?
Mad Max, Lord Humongous.
But what if? Now listen, Spence. What if you trade back with Kansas City, right? And then you end up, Kansas City takes a tackle. You end up at 32 4 picks later, and you get a wide receiver at 32, and you're able to pick up an extra, day 2 pick, right?
You know the last time we traded a first round. You know the last time we traded a first round draft pick with Kansas City. You know what that was?
Yeah, I can't wait for you to tell me.
I do not going to get a Patrick Mahomes level player again. The odds of that happening twice
that's not the point. It's not the point. They're the team that's kicked us out of the playoffs for every year. They're the team that we can't we beat them in the season. We beat them in Kansas City, and we talked the crap all season. Then the playoffs. They're the team. Why
are
you
have
anything to do with that?
Oh my God! You're going to be.
I have a feeling based on that reaction.
You're going to tell me they took A.D. Mitchell, aren't you?
No. By the way,
wow.
While we're waiting for this, the trade compensation, the Bills traded 28, 133, and 248. The Chiefs traded 32, 95, and 221. So they pick up an extra top 100 pick. They had to give up 133 to do it, but there you go. All right. Sorry, Spence. With the 28th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, starved for speed, are drafting Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from Texas.
All right. I'm going to head out. I love y'all. Go Bills.
Man.
Y'all have a good night, man.
Hey.
Very nice meeting you, man. When I get my show back going, I'm gonna reach out. We all got to connect. I appreciate the invitation. You guys are awesome. I miss you guys.
Ben, we love you, buddy.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Hey, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for hanging with us for such a long time. We love you. We know it's all love. It's AFC East love, man. And I appreciate you coming through and hanging with us for such a long time, man.
I'm sick.
Frustrating night. I get it.
You should.
I get it.
Honestly, yeah, we get it. You should be. That's awful.
Yeah.
To wait up until 11:30 and hear about this trade. I would.
Hey, at least only 8:30 over there,
sick,
right?
I'd call in sick to work tomorrow right now.
I will say, I'll be the lone wolf in this camp and say that I'm actually not that high on Worthy, and I don't necessarily love this pick for Kansas City, and I also don't think this was a guy that was ever going to be the guy in Buffalo. So
that I agree with.
When I get over the fact that we did something with Kansas City, I will probably agree with everything you said, because logically you're very. I didn't even mention Worthy, so he wasn't for me somebody I wanted. I just don't understand why do you do anything with the enemy? Like, why are we
don't?
Yeah, I agree with you. Don't help him out. Don't help him.
No,
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, have a good night, man.
All right, brother.
Have a good
Take
one,
care,
man.
Peace.
We'll see you.
No.
Woo. I'll tell you. So the thing about Worthy, and I agree with you. I agree with you that
he's a 3rd round pick, man.
Yeah, he's got a ton of speed, and supposedly he can run a route. I don't believe that. I don't believe for a second that he can run a route. You put him against an NFL defense who's not as afraid of his speed, and to me, I look at it and just think, I'm not. Yes, he's fast as hell. And people, of course, think Tyreek Hill right away. But Tyreek Hill is a phenomenal route runner.
In a lifetime, low-life scumbag, freaking wide receiver. Okay? If it wasn't for football, he'd be in a penitentiary somewhere. And this kid is not that. I don't know who's comparing him to that. He's if he can't beat somebody with speed, which he has in buckets, he doesn't get off the line. I agree with what Pat said. I don't think he's a great route runner. And the second best wide receiver on that team went before the best one. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Junior just must be a complete freaking prima donna showboat that nobody wants to have anything to do with. I mean, there has to be, 6 or 8 include wide receivers that I would take. I would take Ricky Pearsall over this guy.
Oh, John.
Yeah,
John thinks we're hacks, by the way. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Oh, thanks, John.
Well, now with that comment, you are entered to win.
He's entered in to win a hat. You know what? If that guy wins a hat, we're rescinding it and we're spinning someone else.
I said they're not sending another one out.
I will say I don't like 165-pound receivers. That scares me. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily love the scheme fit. In
Yeah.
that like
Well, unless they're
what do you call it? Rasheed Rice, if he's on the field, isn't like an X. Like Xavier Worthy is a guy you want to line up in the slot so he can't get pressed. I think you got a couple guys like that right now.
who would you rather have, him or Malachi Corley in the slot?
Malachi
Malachi.
Corley.
No,
Malachi.
I would
No,
take-
I keep saying I keep getting the Malachi crunch thing in my head. Yeah, Malachi
I would
Corley.
take-
Hey, listen,
know?
he is.
I would still take Worthy, to be honest, but I also not that high on Corley.
Yeah.
I don't think Corley can run routes, and I think he's slower than Worthy. So
Right, but he's a running back. Like that's why I like him.
How about Lad McConkey? Would you rather have Lad McConkey there?
yes,
Yes.
and I think
You
he would
know?
be a great fit with Mahomes.
Yep.
If you
I
want a
agree.
slot guy too. And I
By the
think
way,
he has more
I-
upside.
I'm always in for a good pun. And Dark Blue Gold says you guys are hats, and I mean, come on, that's great. That's good stuff right there.
TD threw out a good comment here. He's Thornton with better hands.
Right, and I do like that idea too. That he
Yeah.
is.
I feel like he's Worthy is like, to me, is more like discounted Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Highly discounted, but you're still
Yeah.
paying first round price.
Nope.
For this kid to go in the first, I just don't get what some people are thinking. I don't see it.
They see the speed. You just see the speed is all.
I will play devil's advocate to myself for just 1 second here, in that Worthy is one of just a couple guys in this draft who was an elite performer from a young age.
True.
And Quinn Ewers has not given him very good quarterback play in Texas. So like, I see the appeal.
He hasn't
there,
gotten better
but-
though, Matt. The
Yeah,
kid
no,
that
and
you
that's-
saw as a freshman and a sophomore is still there.
All right, let's pause this. Let's pause this for a second. Do you have the pick ready for me?
I'm loading it up as we speak.
Okay.
Sorry, I got a
Go ahead. All
lot
right.
going on. Is it who I? Oh yeah, this is who I thought they were going to take before.
Yeah,
so this
I think it makes a
this
ton
is
of sense.
fantastic for that.
Yep. All right, with the 29th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Guyton, tackle from Oklahoma. And as you mentioned, they traded back. They still got the guy that I think they were interested in. And again, I don't think I like Guyton. I don't think he was a great fit for the Patriots because he's mostly a right tackle, but he is going to play tackle. And so that's kind of where we're at. And look, I like this from a Patriots perspective. There's a lot of questions about, is Cooper DeJean going to be available? Is that who they want? Is, Patrick Paul might be the guy that they want.
Right.
I'm really interested.
It's getting real thin there on the left-hand side, though.
Yes,
And
it
it's
is.
Cordell Black comes in and asks, and I'm late to the stream, but are there any left tackle options available? This was one of them, the one that just came off the board. And I think we're now probably through the tackles that we thought were going to go in the first round. I think that's, which
How many
means,
have gone?
let's see.
Is it?
Alt is 1.
No, you're right.
Olu is 2. Fuaga is 3. Latham is 4. Mims is 5. Guyton's 6. Morgan is 7. Yeah.
So 7 tackles.
That's 7.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I think makes sense. 7 feels like the right number. I know some people had 10, but I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But
Kingsley,
Well, right. Kingsley could be Amagaji, right?
Yeah.
Could be, those are guys, even, and I think Patrick Paul makes a lot of sense for the Patriots, so those are the ones.
could Blake Fisher be flipped over? I don't know. I mean, it's the fact.
I think
that,
he can be.
was-
He started as a left tackle.
He started as a left tackle. So there's some guys out there, but I'm sorry, dude. The big names are really not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not, this is, I think, as expected, and I'm not sure. It would have been expensive for New England to jump for any of these guys. You would have to have given up your 3rd round pick to get any of these tackles.
Right.
And then you're basically saying we're not addressing receiver until day 3 of this draft, which I think is tough. I think there are still good tackle prospects. You're not going to get a guy where you're like super confident they're going to be a franchise guy.
Yeah, but Wolf is confident in the weapons that we have.
Yeah, true. I mean, we'll see. But all right, we have another Bills guy. Oh boy.
Yeah, we're swapping one Bills guy for another here.
Yes.
Oh, I remember.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm doing good. A little weirded out of what just transpired on my timeline there, but
Pete and I did a show together last year on the Blonde Blitz, I think it was, a season preview with Nikki Geist.
We did, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That was a lot of fun that night. Nice to see you.
No,
again.
it was. Yeah, you too. No, yeah, it was interesting thing what the Bills just did. I'm not saying I didn't think they were going to ever trade back, because I always thought that was a possibility, because they don't have a lot of day 2 capital and they got a 3rd round pick in the trade. I just didn't think it was going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Just obviously.
Why help? Why
a
help?
little PTSD there.
Yeah.
If I'm the Bills and I'm looking down at the caller ID and I see Kansas City, I'm not picking the phone up, or I'm hanging it up real quick.
Yeah. And look, there is a relationship there. Sean McDermott and Andy Reid are very close. They've coached together on the same staff. Obviously, the Bills made that trade with the Chiefs that ended up getting Patrick Mahomes a handful of years ago. So there's history in obviously making the trade. I wouldn't have made the trade, but the Bills needed they didn't have a 3rd round pick, right? So they get a 3rd round pick, and depending on who they end up drafting, we'll see. Maybe I liked Xavier Worthy, but maybe he wasn't their guy. So we'll see.
Yeah. There's 3 picks here left in the 1st round, by the way, as of right now. It's Baltimore, San Fran, and then Buffalo. According to the consensus board, the best guys left: Johnny Newton, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry, A.D. Mitchell, Keon Coleman.
By the way, it's about to be 2, because we have another draft announcement here.
Ooh, all right. Let me get this up. Another pick in.
Another pick in. Here we go. With the 30th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens are selecting Nate Wiggins, corner from Clemson. And so here we are, another corner off the board.
Yep.
Cooper DeJean still not off the board, but we do have the corner run coming off. And Spence, who was on earlier, by the way, who's a Bills guy as well, was saying, Peter, that he thought Cooper DeJean might have been the guy that they're interested in. And so if they trade back to 32, if they wanted Cooper DeJean at 28 and they move back to 32 and pick up an extra top 100 pick to do it and still get the guy they wanted at 32, which it seems like could certainly be a possibility, I think that's a win for them ultimately. But the problem is Xavier Worthy turns into a stud. It's not a win.
No. And I do think Cooper DeJean could be the pick. That I think I've talked about it on my show. He's my corner. Obviously, he can play safety. He can play slot corner. And Sean McDermott kind of likes those guys that have a lot of versatility. And he kind of fits their mold. It's just the receiver need is now so glaring more than it was, Matt, when you and I talked at the Big East tournament. It was glaring, but it wasn't as glaring. Stephon Diggs was still a Buffalo Bill at that time, right? And obviously he's not. So now it becomes even more glaring. So I think it's either A.D. Mitchell or Xavier will get, but that's also could be me being blinded by the fact that we need a receiver. And that's maybe that's the reason why I'm thinking those two. Cooper DeJean makes a lot of sense of just what the Bills have done in the past.
Yep. By the way, we just passed the 4-hour mark on the stream. Thank you, everyone, for here. We're over 1,500 live viewers right now, which is pretty awesome. So, we're still plugging along. We got 2 picks left, still plugging along. San Francisco and Buffalo on the clock. We're going to see what happens. San Fran on the clock right now, and Buffalo right after them. So. Look,
what are you going to do if Buffalo trades out again?
Oh my God!
Go to bed.
Can you imagine?
Go to bed. Well, and now it's not trading out now is not the worst idea in the world.
Right.
I don't like if let's say you move. I know the Commanders were a team that people thought like they could move back into the first round, obviously depending on who they want. Like if you move back now, you get the second round pick of whoever you move back with, right? Like 35, 36, whoever team it is, and you get another additional maybe third, maybe fourth, probably. It's not the worst idea in the world. You're just getting assets, and I would probably just go to bed at that point, but it would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens. By the way, after this pick, while Buffalo is on the clock, should we do the raffle for the
hat?
what's it called?
The hat?
For the hat?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot of names I got to put together for this.
Oh.
Yeah, you do. I thought you were putting them into the generator already.
No, I just have them written down in a note. Are we doing that tonight, or do we want to
my
do that in a different podcast?
No, do that. Why don't you do that on the next podcast?
We could do that on a different podcast if you want.
And
Or you know what we could
have to be
do?
tuned in to win.
You know what we could do, right? You know what we could do, Matt, is we could do it on the breakdown afterwards, or you could even send it. You could send it to me. I'll put them in. I don't care. What if you know what I'm going to do? We have to we got to run an ad anyways because we're 40 minutes since our last ad. So let's run an ad, and then we can work on that maybe during the ad and kind of see what happens. So someone else popped in. Oh, Josh Allen just popped in. Josh, I'm going to pull you up on stage.
Not that Josh Allen.
Not that Josh Allen.
Not that Josh
Sorry,
Allen.
Pete. Josh,
See, we got a surprise for you.
yeah, right. We're running to an ad, Josh. When we come back, I'm going to pull you up on stage, okay? And then we'll be right back with you guys for picks 31 and 32. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan, from basketball, baseball, and hockey to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Aaron Judge, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, Prize Picks will have your back and not count that as a loss. Now this week, I'm actually going with Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, and Bobby Witt Jr. to have over 1.5 total bases, and I'm going with Kevin Durant for more than 28 points and Nikola Jokic with more than 10 rebounds. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, if you download the app today and put in the code CLNS, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, let's pull our guy Josh Allen up on stage here. Patriots fan, and covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's currently has a black screen right now, but he's there. I think he's there.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
We can't see you, but we
All
can
right,
hear you.
I'm coming.
It's okay. It's all right.
You guys know how this goes.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
at the facility, so I'm trying to find the best spot so I can get to
Oh, we
you
love it.
here.
Okay.
But yeah, hey, I'm here.
Hey,
Just,
man. How's everything? How you feeling?
I actually really like this pick here for the Buccaneers with Graham Barton. He was one of the short lists on my board. I think when you looked at it, they really would have liked to have an edge rusher there, as far as Latu or Verse, but they obviously didn't fall. So you look at the biggest need outside of edge rushers, interior offensive line, whether that's center or guard. They got a guy in Graham Barton who I think gives them the flexibility to play center or guard. We just got done talking with Jason Light. He has him pegged as a center that does have that flexibility as well. So I really like the pick. I might go black screen, but I'll tell you what I wrote about him here. If you guys can still hear me, he's got position flexibility after starting at center his freshman season before finishing his time at Duke at left tackle. Some believe his best fit is at guard as well. He explodes out of his stance with balance and positioning to sustain blocks. He has great grip strength and blocking to the whistle and has the athleticism and quick feet to be a factor against speedier rushers and pulling in space. However, he has less than ideal arm length, can be grabby at times, and needs to anchor better versus power. So everything you want in an offensive lineman, he gives you. If you guys are familiar with the relative athletic scoring, the RAS scores, for centers, he actually finished with the best ever ranking for all centers, going back like 1987 or whenever they went back and started keeping score. So very athletic guy, and he's going to anchor the middle for the Bucs for the years to come.
Well, there you go. I like that. Look at that, would you?
Told you.
Matt, where are you getting this information from, sir? I don't have that information. Looks like we have another pick on the board.
We do. We have the 49ers pick in.
49ers pick is in. All right. You got to key it up for me?
I got to key it up.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. With the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers are taking Cooper DeJean, corner/safety from Iowa. I flipping love this pick. And
are you sure? Because I'm getting something else here. 49ers are taking Florida wide receiver.
Dude, what are we doing? Come on, for Christ's sake.
Ricky Pearsall, 49ers, Florida wide receiver.
This is from a very reputable. It's a very reputable reporter who tweeted that out. So she is.
What reputable reporter is it? Call him out.
It was Lindsay OK. She has already deleted the tweet. Wow,
yeah, she got got. Lindsay OK got got.
She got.
It is Ricky Pearsall is the choice, as Josh just dropped in there. Ricky Pearsall is the choice. Hey, listen, we went all the way. I was the one that had him, Matt. And
someone just tweeted it out after listening to this show. You guys,
golly. The one
do we want to rerun that and we can just pretend that never happened?
Okay, here we go.
Here
we go. With the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers are taking Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall had it, nailed it. Also, sorry, Pete, you might want to go to bed, sir. Looks like the Bills are trading back again from pick 32. Oh,
so I'd like to just give my quick thoughts too on Drake Maye.
Yes, please do.
I absolutely love the pick. I think the biggest thing you needed was a quarterback. Now let's just see if the Patriots have patience, right? We just need to let him sit for a while, even if it's half the season until you think he's ready. You cannot rush him in there, especially with the line the way it is, the receiving core the way it is. And I'm sure they'll add to both of those positions in this draft. But you've got to let him sit a la Patrick Mahomes and that style there. And the worst thing you can do for this prospect is to rush him in there. But he can make all the throws. He's excellent over the middle of the field. Really excited about Drake Maye for the Patriots.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Do we know who the Bills traded with?
Carolina.
Carolina. They're moving up one spot.
Moving up one spot.
Because this is a tweet from Ben Solak.
Oh my goodness!
From what I've been told, the Niners have been on the phones all night up until and through pick 31, exploring trades for both Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Had me wondering if that pick for the Bills had gone for Ayuk.
No, it seems like the Panthers are moving up one spot. Panthers are going from 33 to 32.
I said that a couple minutes ago. I think that makes sense, right?
It does. Yeah, it does.
And also, the Bills have a history with the Panthers. Brandon Bean.
All right, fellas. I gotta run. We're getting Graham Barton.
Josh, thanks so much for coming through, man. We appreciate it. Keep up the good work down there in Tampa, brother.
Always appreciate you guys.
We'll talk to you, man.
So, Peter, we still haven't gotten your Drake Maye thoughts, I don't think, or your other thoughts on the divisional picks. We're not getting Buffalo, so what do you think about the rest of the AFC?
So I was putting out tweets throughout the night, like my grades, just because why not? It's fun to grade players that you have no idea. And are you going to be wrong? Probably. I like Drake Maye. I was always Drake Maye over Jaden Daniels. That was just me. I think Drake Maye projects more of a long-term option and more of has that superstar build. I don't know year one if it's pretty, right? Like year one, Patriots fans might have to have a little bit of patience, might have to let it kind of work itself out. Maybe he won't start the first 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 games. And that's not a bad thing. I think nowadays people want quarterbacks to play right away, and we've seen it work, and sometimes we haven't seen it work, right? So it depends. But if you kind of add talent. You can develop him nicely. I think he turns into a really good quarterback. I thought that was a better pick than Jaden Daniels. I was always over on Drake May. And then
Agreed.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. at 8 was weird to the Falcons. Obviously,
Yeah.
that was just one of those.
Right.
That was bizarre.
I like
right?
Penix a lot, but I think that really threw off a ton of teams. I think that and the Knicks pick probably threw some teams off. I see that
The Knicks pick is ridiculous.
it's
We
they're
do.
both
It is. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand what the hell Denver's doing, and I got some people out there that are probably losing their minds.
And I like
right.
Knicks and I like Penix, and neither at the spots that were picked.
Correct. I agree with you. All right, here we go. With the 32nd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft and finishing off the first round, the Carolina Panthers get their wide receiver 1 and take Xavier Leggett, wide receiver from South Carolina, the other USC. Makes a ton of sense for them. I know they liked him. He had flat out said they told him he wasn't getting past 34.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if the Bills were on the board, right, and wanted Cooper DeJean still,
Yep.
you move back one spot, you still have Cooper DeJean if you want him, and they pick up 141 and give up 200. So you move up, almost 60 spots, and you have the same guy on your board that you drafted the same guy you wanted, because assuming they weren't going to take Leggett.
Yeah, I don't know who they want, and I still think they're targeting a receiver. My favorite prospect in the draft is A.D. Mitchell, and I know me and Matt even talked about it at the biggest tournament. I know people have kind of concerns about his lack of effort and all that kind of things. I just think he fits exactly what the Bills need, and it could be Cooper DeJean, right? Whoever they wanted, they thought could be still on the board, or they knew Carolina wasn't going to take him because Carolina kind of told everyone, or Leggett kind of told everyone that Carolina was going to take him. So why not get another 5th rounder? Look, it's annoying. You watch a whole draft and your team doesn't pick it, but it's part of the thing. And at the end of the day, it kind of matters what you end up at Saturday night. Like what's your haul at the end of the day? And also now matters what Xavier Worthy turns into. That's also kind of annoying. Like if that was a trade with the NFC team, right? Like if that was the 49ers, for example, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
Unless you meet them in the Super Bowl and he burns you, it really doesn't affect you that much. Obviously, if he turns into a good player, people will be like, oh, you should have drafted him, but it's in a different conference. You kind of can move on.
I think he dodged a bullet.
I like Worthy. I like his speed, his size, and his weight is.
It's not a track meet.
Big concern. So
it's not a track meet.
Yeah, I'm a Leggett guy, so I like Leggett and I like A.D. Mitchell.
Leggett. Can I be honest? I'm not a Leggett guy. I hate this for Carolina, honestly, because what Bryce Young needs for the type of quarterback he is like route runners and guys who can separate.
Yep.
And Leggett is not that. And it's nice to add a yards after catch threat. He's really, really good there. But I don't know. You're banking on Deontay Johnson being a really, really good player for you to create so much offense so that Leggett can take advantage of the spaces that are created. And I don't know. This just doesn't make sense to me. And it seems like they keep taking the same body type at receiver over and over. And I don't think it's working for them. I don't know why they keep investing in these guys.
Also, I would
have taken Ladd.
Did they have to move up? Unless they thought someone was going to move with the Bills to get Leggett, right? That's probably the reason.
It's got to be the case. That's
kind of why Minnesota moved up for JJ McCarthy. They probably thought either Denver or Vegas.
Same deal, right? Yeah, same deal to move up one spot.
You give up, but no. Look, the Bills could be in for Ladd McConkey. I know they really liked him in their pre-draft visits. I like Ladd McConkey. I think
he makes a ton of sense for them.
His measurables also are much different than I think the natural perception of him.
Yes,
and
I think play outside.
That's the thing. He's the same size in some aspects as Garrett Wilson. I'm assuming you guys saw that graphic a couple months ago. So
yeah,
the Bills go back to 33. You get a 3rd rounder and you get a 5th rounder. So they needed a 3rd
All right.
Rounder, so.
Should we do it? The
drawing?
Let's do it. Yep.
Yeah. So Peter, for context here, since you're joining at the end, everybody who commented on the show during it, where their names have been collected, and somebody from that is winning a New England Patriots draft hat.
That's right, baby. So we have 27 entries, 27 different people commented.
I was trying to track all of the names during this. If you commented and I missed you, I am sorry. But I think I got everyone.
Oh, baby. Jesus. You can't say that. They're not going to be able to see their names. What are you doing? All right.
I thought you were going to screen share for it.
Well, I am going to screen share, but you know, come on now. Hold on. Did you get Matt Manito?
I did. And I included your dad multiple times, like you paid me to do.
Multiple times.
Yeah, we did. The last giveaway we did, Peter, Pat's dad won it. And there have been many, many cheating accusations in the comments ever since then.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one to sell.
It is.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let's do it. Wheel of names. Here we go. Random name generator. Yeah, share. Come on. There we go. All right. Clicking to spin. 47. I said 27. I was wrong about that. 47. I thought 27 was low. 47 different people. Here we go. Come on. Oh, we're spinning. Slowly, but we're spinning. What's happening?
It's looking for your dad's name and it can't find it. Dan Bradley.
Dan Bradley. It's
All
our
right,
guy,
Dan.
AWL Sabermetrics. How about that? All right.
Love it.
I don't know if he's still in the chat, but I will have to DM him and let him know that he won the hat and then go from there. Look at that. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, Dan's still in there.
So the what do you call it? The first two picks of the second round are Bills and then Pats, right?
Yeah,
That's how it
Bills
starts?
Patriots. Yep. That's how it starts. And so
Were you guys targeting a receiver, you think?
We are actively targeting receiver Brandon Ayuk, apparently.
Yeah,
apparently we in Washington are both willing to use our second round pick on him.
that's the hope. That's the hope. If I'm the Patriots,
I know this just who said that? Ian Rappaport. This is via Taylor Kyles, but Ian Rappaport says the Patriots and Commanders could package their second rounders and late round picks in a potential Brandon Ayuk trade.
I mean, that to me, by the way, is an absolute no-brainer. Like an absolute no-brainer.
For both teams.
Yeah.
Set what 2 and 137, not 2, 34 and 137 for Ayuk. I am doing that in a heartbeat if I'm New England.
Yeah. Oh my God. 34 and a late round pick. Are you kidding me for Brandon Ayuk?
Right.
Ayuk he's a guy.
They just took a receiver too, the 49ers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now here's the thing. They might not, because they're also engaged in trades for Debo. Apparently nobody's offered more than like a third or a fourth for Debo, which doesn't surprise me with his contract.
Right.
And the last time we saw him was not his finest hour.
We just talked at the top of the show, though, about the money that these guys are getting. You know, that we all saw what Amon St. Ra just signed for, and Pat mentioned who signed this afternoon?
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. And you know, I'm just wondering what Ayuk is gonna demand.
Look, they got the money though. This is if you're gonna pay out for players, I'd rather pay out for a guy who's premium. And I think Ayuk is closer to AJ Brown than to Amon-Ra in ability. I think Ayuk might be a top. I mean, depending on the day, top 5 receiver in the NFL. Like he has some real upside.
Definitely inside the top 10, and I don't know. I'd honestly rather go with youth and have the young wide receiver on a rookie contract than I would.
You can do both.
Yeah,
you can have Ayuk and still draft another guy.
Right.
What about Peter? Do you think the Bills don't have the cap space for Ayuk? Right.
No, because people have kind of talked about like T. Higgins potentially, and I never thought the Bengals would trade us T. Higgins because obviously that doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't think we do. We do create cap space. I haven't done enough research into it, but I don't think we do. We would have to move a lot of money around. Trey White cut is a post June 1st cut, right? So that's frees about 10 to 11 million in cap space. I haven't looked into Brandon Ayuk as much because I just haven't really heard the Bills super connected with it. It's more of just the average Twitter person just tweeting about it, just obviously just for the fun of it. And I think I did it probably once just to have fun with it, but I don't think it's a legit option for the Bills based off their money. I think it makes sense for the Patriots. I think it makes sense for both Patriots and Commanders, a little bit more Patriots, just because I think you guys need, at least they have Terry McLaurin, who's a proven legit receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's obviously not a top end number one, but he's a really good receiver, right?
Yeah.
Patriots are obviously missing that, and the 49ers just take probably one of the shock of the drafts as well, Ricky Pearsall from Florida, which I like him. I don't love him in round one.
The only guy taken in the first round outside of the top 40 consensus.
It's a weird pick, but could that be the replacement? I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, look, for me, and someone asked this question. Jorge over here is asking this question about Ayuk over AD. 100%, absolutely. And I understand that AD is younger. I get that, but it's not. I'm not doing that.
He's the better proven product. The only thing that gives me hesitation is getting him here and getting him under a new contract. Okay, you can make the trade. You can't force the contract on the guy. What are you going to do? You're going to tell him that I'm gonna franchise you, so you're going to be here, so you might as well. That's the only leverage that you have to keep him. I would rather go with AD and roll that dice and know that I'm going to have that person here for 4 years. Just me.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing the talent disparity. That's not what I'm doing. It's $30+ million a year for him, and that's if he accepts it.
Yeah, and I get it. I understand. And that's the argument against it, right? Is you're going to have to pay him a ton of money.
And the Patriots have never paid anybody. They wouldn't pay Randy Moss.
True. That is
it's a different ownership, or not different ownership, different front office now than it was then.
Yeah,
right.
But it's still, I still go with the fact that, Bill was given a budget and this is how he spent it. Is Wolf going to be given that budget and then, just spend it in that vastly a different way, especially when we've heard over the past, 4 or 5 months, how the Packer way is the way that they're going to do it. And the Packers haven't done that either. It's always been draft and development.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But he was in Cleveland when they traded for Amari Cooper, which is obviously a very different.
Yeah, but he wasn't
situation.
The man. He wasn't the man.
But
Cleveland.
He was. Yeah, no, it is a very different situation. But he was the wide receiver one there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Also,
I think there's more.
I also got to say, like the hard thing for me is like, someone just said like we're getting AJ Brown. AD Mitchell isn't AJ Brown. Like let's not get it twisted here. Like, AD Mitchell could be good. You know what? He could even be as good as Brandon Ayuk. That'd be cool. And so, like, what you're doing is you're trading for a known commodity. And yes, you got to pay him a ton of money. That's true. But you're trading for a known commodity instead of drafting a guy. Yes, he's a rookie. But instead of drafting a guy that you have no idea what he's going to end up as, right? And that's the concern that I have. Is that how is that guy going to turn? Maybe the guy they draft is going to be good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You also kind of have to when it comes to young quarterbacks, right? I probably can mention 8 to 10 quarterbacks that have benefited when you go get a proven commodity. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, obviously Mahomes had Kelsey and obviously had Hill, right? Like there's no elite quarterback or someone that develops into elite quarterback without adding a proven commodity, right? Like you kind of have to do it, and
Great point.
it's going to cost, right? Good players cost money, right? And the Patriots have money to spend. They're one of the few teams that have legit money to spend, but who knows? That's probably gonna be my final thoughts tonight, just because the Bills did absolutely nothing today. Oh, they didn't do absolutely nothing. Look, the first trade back I don't get. The second trade back makes sense to me, right? Like I think at that point, trade back. They didn't if they didn't want Leggett, clearly. If they wanted him, they would have just took him. They didn't want him. You get an extra 5th rounder, whatever that turns into. Now the Bills have a ton of day 3 picks. Obviously now they have a more busier night than heading into tonight. The Bills had pick 60. That's all they had on Friday night.
Right.
Now they have 33, 60, and I think it was 95. I believe it was 95. So now I have a little bit of busier Friday night. Than
I've said from the beginning that I love the top 100 in this draft.
Okay.
And if they didn't like what was there for them, and getting more top 100 talent is a smart thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I think, so we'll see.
I should be happier. We got our quarterback of the future.
Yeah,
and that's honestly that's what it comes down to, right? We got the quarterback. I think, and I don't know this for sure, I think the Patriots probably wanted to move back up because there were wide receivers that they liked, that they wanted to get, and they just never, did it. So, it is what it is. And again, like we talked about with Spence, like maybe the Bills wanted to move up into the top 10 to get a guy, and they just couldn't get it done. Right. And so, and that's the way it goes, right?
They didn't have enough capital in
and
the
again,
second, third
maybe,
round.
but then again, also it ends up where it's like, well, if I'm the Bears, I'm not trading 9.
No,
I understand. Maybe I could get 28 in the first round next year, but I can get Rome Odunze. Why the hell am I going to pass that up? You know what I mean?
You're also moving back to 28. Which is not an easy.
That's the other part of it.
The Bills aren't picking at 18 or even 15 or 16.
No, you should be most pissed off that they did this with Kansas City.
That's the biggest. If they did it with anybody else, not named the Chiefs, if they did it with you guys, I would have. I still would have been. Look, it's division, and it probably would have burned you a little more because obviously you got to win your division first before you think about other stuff.
But the Patriots aren't in position to win the division next year.
No, that is correct.
You know what I mean? The Chiefs got better now, which sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully Xavier Worthy's a bust. That would be awesome. Now I'm actively rooting for this kid to be terrible, which is unfortunate because I kind of like him. I like his
you're not going to hell for that.
That's true.
Yeah, right.
That's true. So now I got to root for Drake May a little too, just because I like Drake May coming out.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. You know what I mean?
I just want to give out a shout out to everybody across the pond who stuck with us all night long.
Yes.
That was really it's after 5 o'clock in the morning, and some of these guys over there were just phenomenal. I'm sorry, Pat. I know you probably wanted to do that too.
No, I appreciate it, man.
Everybody that was in the chat all night, but you guys that were over there in England that tuned in and kept the chat going all night long. You made some great points, and I know you've been sucking down coffee.
Yes. And listen, we're going to be tomorrow. There's going to be all sorts of stuff going on the Press Pass YouTube channel. John and Mike Cadlick, who, by the way, Mike Cadlick got let go from WEI. CLNS scooped him right up for draft coverage, so he's going to be with us doing draft coverage. And Taylor Kyles and maybe even some other guests are going to be live tomorrow night during the draft. Matt and I are going to do some instant reaction podcast. That's going to be on our Pats Nation Network YouTube channel. And we're also going to release those as episodes. We're also, because we're complete lunatics, Matt and I are going to do a quick 20-minute breakdown of round 1 and release that as a podcast in the morning because we're completely insane. And so we'll have that for you as a podcast in the morning. We're also going to chop this up and release it as podcast over hopefully maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but certainly soon if it's not tomorrow.
And anybody who wants to check me out, I'll be on Locked On Patriots right after this. Mike will probably have that up. Mike DeBate, who was in earlier, will probably have that up on the Locked On network that tomorrow morning sometime.
Love it. Oh, I have some breaking news. Bill Belichick every Monday on the Pat McAfee show. Oh my God. That's
going to be something
incredible.
Much better. Hopefully.
I'd rather listen to him than Aaron Rodgers because at least we'll talk about football for 10,
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
I would rather listen to Bill Belichick talk about the history of long snappers for 4 hours than whatever
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers has to
Exactly.
say.
That's correct. That is
Give me
correct.
Aaron Rodgers gave me some random conspiracy theory that
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not true.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go back
No.
in your
Yeah.
cave and take a fucking bath. Sorry.
No,
I made it
it's
all
right.
this way without an
We made it
F-bomb. I'm sorry.
4.5 hours without
4.5
swearing, Murph. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Peter, you doing any Bills coverage people should check out?
Yeah, I'm jumping on the Built in Buffalo Network, who I create content for my shows every Tuesday, but I'm hopping on for about 30 minutes tomorrow night from 8 to 8:30 when I thought maybe it wasn't going to be that busy, but now I'm going to be obviously
There you
the
go.
7 o'clock the draft starts, but I'll be breaking down pick hopefully 33, and they might just keep moving back, but
Right.
hopefully pick 33 and then obviously into pick 60. So you can check that out. Just type in Built in Buffalo,
There you
YouTube,
go.
Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to head out, guys. I appreciate you guys having me for the second
thanks,
year
Pete,
in a
man.
row. So I
Appreciate
really
it.
appreciate
Good
it.
seeing you again.
Yeah, you too, guys. Have a
Yeah.
good one.
See you, Peter.
Thanks, you too, man.
See ya.
Take care. All right, that was great.
That's
Thank you,
fantastic,
everyone who
man.
stuck around.
Thank you guys for having me. And,
Oh, Murph, you
putting up
made
with
it
me
all
for
the way
5
through,
hours.
man. We appreciate it. Thank
You
you.
know?
Thank you so much for coming on. We love doing this with you. Love having you on the show. And
Can't wait for
you
next
know,
year.
it was great. That was awesome.
Don't be such a stranger. Call anytime.
I
Talk
know.
to
We
you guys
gotta
later.
have you on the show too in a normal non 4.5 hour show.
There you go.
Have you on again. All right.
And then there were two.
Yeah, we're out of here. All right, we're gonna end this stream and start another one. And we're just gonna do a quick 20-minute breakdown. If you're still watching the press pass, YouTube, you can stay on here. We'll go from there. And Murph was the star of the night, according to DJ Daniel.
I think it's Drake May, but Murph is a close number 2.
Yeah, I agree. Drake May star of the night. Murph close second. Certainly on here he was the star of the night. But yeah. So anyways, so that's what we got. So thank you so much for coming through for the stream. It's the 4th year in a row we've done it. It's been I absolutely love it. It's my favorite night of the year. It's so much fun. And Patriots only made one pick, but it was a heck of a pick. It was a heck of a pick. And I like it a lot. And so we'll see what happens. Now they just got to get some weapons for him or someone to protect him. Actually, let me rephrase that. They need to get some weapons for him and someone to protect him. And so hopefully that will happen tomorrow night. And listen, at 34, I think they're looking wide receiver. And but we'll see what happens there. So anyways, we're gonna save that for the wrap up. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. We love you guys so much. I mean, again, a ton of people in the chat. We appreciate that. And we're going to come back on for like another 20 minutes for just a quick round 1 recap. And again, Dan, I will reach out to you about getting you that hat as well. So thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Hey, it's going to save me $17 on the shipping. Appreciate that. That's nice. So,
Damn Europeans.
But thanks, everyone. We appreciate it. Love you guys. And we'll be back with a ton of shows this weekend as well, giving you nonstop draft coverage all weekend long. And that's it. Take care, guys.